Chapter 1543. The competition continues. 1. Don't you know why we can't see him? He actually dared to use the forgotten soul in the family competition. Before this matter is investigated clearly, no one is allowed to see him. Ning Haolon said coldly, "There's no evidence that my son used the soul forger. Moreover, everyone knows that you were the only one who used the soul forger before the start of the competition. I want to say that you used the soul forger." Hearing Ning Haolon's words, Ning Duan's mother immediately yelled, "Me? I didn't take part in the family competition this time. So what's the use of using the forgotten soul? Besides, do you think you'll need soul forgetting with my strength? Or are you trying to say that I'm the one who got the soul forgetfulness for your son?" Ning Haolon raised his eyes slightly and looked at the woman before him as he retorted indifferently. Ning Duan's mother was speechless. Ning Haolon looked at the couple in front of him, who were still unwilling to give up, and said in a clear voice, "Acting patriarch, elders, I know that you have a lot of questions and dissatisfaction about this matter, but everything I've done is for the clan, so I have a clear conscience. If you don't trust me, I can hand Ning Duan over to you to watch over, and I can also not interfere in this matter. In addition, if you think I'm the greatest suspect, it's fine to watch me, but what I want to say is that this matter must be investigated to the core, no matter who did it. We can't tolerate this. We must punish the culprit." Ning Haolon's words of justice stirred up the majority of the elders present. Very quickly, an elder chimed in, "Young master is right. We must investigate this matter clearly. No matter who the culprit is, we can't let go of anyone who dares to harm innocent clansmen, right? We can't let him go." All the elders hurriedly said. Ning Haolon looked up in satisfaction at the situation he had created and sat down in his seat. Seeing this and hearing the words of some of the elders, Ning Duan's parents naturally did not dare to pester Ning Haolon before they caught up to him. However, they were not willing to give up on their son before they had even seen him. Thinking up to this point, Ning Duan's parents sent a pleading look to the 19th elder. The 19th elder had wanted to pretend that he did not see it, but Ning Duan's mother was afraid that he would just leave it be. So she directly knelt in front of him and cried, "Old ancestor, you have to stand up for my Duan. It's been so many days, I don't even know if Duaner is dead or alive." She cried nonstop as she spoke, causing 19th elder to feel extremely vexed. 19th elder, who originally wanted to ignore it, saw that the younger generation of his own line had made it so clear. If he pretended to be confused, it would not only be a problem of him letting it go, but also related to his face, which he cared about the most. Therefore, he had to take the lead. Substitute clan head. Although the actions of these two children are a little rude, they're doing this out of their love for their son. I hope that substitute clan head and the elders can understand. The 19th elder stood up and said to Ning Yuan and the other elders helplessly. He was being polite before resorting to force. He stood up and apologized on their behalf so that the young master and the acting family head would not hold on to them for this matter. However, no one responded after he finished speaking. Many people seemed to be waiting for him to continue. Seeing this, 19th elder couldn't help but curse in his heart. What a bunch of old foxes. Acting patriarch, they haven't seen Duaner in a long time. Since Duaner is only a suspect, can you let them see him first? The 19th elder continued in a negotiating tone. Ning Yuan did not agree immediately after hearing the 19th elder's words. Instead, he turned to look at Ning Haolon. It was obvious that he wanted to seek his opinion. After all, he was the one who had sent people to watch over Ning Duan. "You want to see Ning Duan? I have no objections." Ning Haolon picked up the cup of tea on the table and said indifferently, "What do you think, elders?" Ning Yuan then looked at the elders present and said, "We don't have any objections either. It's normal for parents to want to see their son. Why would we stop them?" The second elder looked around and spoke on behalf of all the elders. Seeing that there were no more objections, Ning Haolon called for his personal attendant and ordered him to bring Ning Duan to the meeting hall. He originally had two attendants with him. One was the escaped Ning Wen, and the other was Ning Wu. The two of them were a pair of partners and one of his confidants. Unfortunately, Ning Wen had betrayed him, which made him a little depressed. Therefore, in recent days, he had been lukewarm to Ningwu. Ningwu knew that his master was taking his anger out on him, but he could do nothing about it. However, as long as his master was willing to use him, he would do his best. As a result, even though he did not know what his master had been doing these past few days, he had been keeping an eye out for any movements in the Ning family. As such, after receiving Ning Howland's orders, he immediately headed to the land garden and brought Ning Duan to the meeting hall. On the way, he had also warned Ning Duan to be careful of what he said. As soon as Ning Duan stepped into the meeting hall, his parents immediately pounced on him. Ning Duan felt a little frightened by their actions, and his eyes involuntarily darted to Ning Howlan. However, Ning Howlan remained unmoved, not even lifting an eyelid. He couldn't help but cry out bitterly in his heart, afraid that he had said the wrong thing. Duaner, mother finally sees you. Are you well? Did you suffer? Ning Duan's mother sized up her precious son, her mouth constantly asking about his well-being. Mother, I'm fine, don't worry. Ning Duangxin's heart trembled, afraid that her parents would say something they shouldn't. Is it really good? Ning Duan's father did not quite believe it, and his eyes kept sweeping over his son. He only had one son. Father, mother, I'm really good. Other than the lack of freedom, I eat well and sleep well. Ning Duan was on the verge of tears. He didn't dare tell anyone that he had been mistreated. Those women were far too terrifying. Just thinking about what he had gone through in the past few days made his heart tremble and his legs go weak. What he had gone through in the past few days was like a nightmare for the rest of his life. He would never be able to get rid of it. However, he didn't dare to tell anyone. After all, Ning Howlan was his master now. That's good. That's good. Ning Duan's parents were finally at ease. At this moment, Ning Howlan had finished his tea as well. He spoke slowly. You've seen her, so can you rest assured now? Don't worry. Ning Duan's parents braced themselves and said, their hearts still beating like drums. They had made a scene earlier mainly because they wanted to see their son. Now that they had seen him, there was naturally no reason for them to make a scene. However, they were a little afraid instead, because they were afraid that Ning Howlan would come and settle the score. Since you're relieved, they'll tell you the arrangements for the future. I will definitely get to the bottom of this matter, so Ning Duan can't be released yet. However, I won't lock him up again. He'll stay by my side for the time being. As for you, not only did you question my decision, but you also made a big fuss in the meeting hall. This has already violated the rules of the Ning family. You'll be punished to work in Bien City for a year. Of course, if you perform well, you can also be exempted from your punishment in advance. Ning Howlan stated his decision in a soft voice. As soon as he said this, Ning Duan's parents immediately shriveled up like frost-beaten eggplants. Although Ning Duan's heart ached for his parents, he did not have the courage to plead for mercy on their behalf. After all, he was now a scapegoat. Chapter 1544. The competition continues too. Young master. Although their actions were a little inappropriate, they were also out of love for their son. Young master, isn't a little too much to punish them to work in Bien City for a year? The 19th elder couldn't help but ask. This couple were the descendants of his bloodline. As the saying goes, you have to look at the owner before you hit the dog. As such, in his opinion, Ning Howlan's decision to banish his descendants to Bianqing was a slap to his face. Bianqing wasn't a good place to live in, not to mention its remote terrain. The living conditions there were also extremely harsh. However, that was the place where the Ning family exiled its clansmen for their wrongdoings. At the same time, the Ning family owned 2 crystal mines there. So, after being sent there, they had to adapt to the climate there and work in the mines for a year. Such a punishment was already considered heavy for the direct family members. However, he didn't want to fall out with Ning Howlan over such a small matter. So even though he was displeased, he still spoke in a relatively gentle tone. It's only been a year. Can't they bear this little bit of suffering? 19th elder, the family has its own rules and regulations. If they don't work for a year in Bien City, do you have a better punishment, 19th elder? Ning Howlan said with a faint smile. The 19th elder was rendered speechless. What good plan could he have come up with? Ning Howlan would never agree to it. However, he was not willing to watch as his junior was sent to Bianching to suffer. At that thought, he sneaked a glance at the elders sitting in front of him, hoping that they would speak up for him. However, the elders did not even look at him. Even the elders who were on good terms with him did not want to get involved in this matter. He couldn't help but feel a little angry, but there was nothing he could do. After all, he couldn't possibly offend the elders present just because of 2 descendants. Seeing that 19th elder had stopped speaking, Ning Yuan said firmly, "Since no one objects, well, do as young master says and send them to work in Bianching for a year." After Ning Yuan finished speaking, he ordered the guards to take Ning Duan's parents away. When Ning Duan saw his parents being taken away, he was a little sad, but he did not dare to show it. After the farce in the meeting hall ended, Ning Haolan brought Ning Duan back to Land Garden. In Ning Haolan's study, he sat in his chair and looked at the panicked Ning Duan. He said with a faint smile, "What? You want to plead for your parents? I don't dare. Master's punishment for them is already considered light." Ning Duan lowered his head and said softly, "Do you really think so?" Ning Haolan asked indifferently, I have no dissatisfaction with Master's punishment." Ning Duan quickly expressed his position. In truth, he did not dare to show any dissatisfaction. Who asked his life to be in the hands of others? Ning Duan, I want you to understand that if I don't punish your parents for offending their superiors, how will the public be convinced in the future? However, since you're my man now, I'll naturally take care of your parents. I'll inform the steward in Bianching and have them arrange some easy work for your parents. A year's time will pass very quickly. If they perform well, they'll also let them return to the main city earlier." Ning Haolan promised. He was giving Ning Duan a sweet date after giving him a slap in the face. His main purpose was to appease Ning Duan's heart and make him loyal to him. "Thank you for your thoughtfulness, Master." As expected, Ning Duan was very happy to hear Ning Haolan's words. "Master, why didn't you let me tell you the truth in the meeting hall just now?" Ning Duan couldn't help but ask after he was assured about his parents. "It's not the time yet," Ning Haolan sighed. "Master, 5th young lady, she—" Ning Duan had only spoken half a sentence before he immediately stopped. He had originally wanted to say that 5th young lady was Master's younger sister, so Master must be in a difficult position. However, he suddenly remembered that the relationship between his master and the 5th miss was not good. To a certain extent, his master even hated this sister. Although this was not a secret in the Ning family, no one dared to gossip in front of his master. "Don't mention her anymore. 2 days later, they'll send someone to send your parents to Bianching. They'll give you 2 days off. Go and spend some time with them," Ning Haolan said after some thought. "Thank you, Master." When Ning Duan heard that he could stay with his parents for 2 days, he was overjoyed. After bowing to Ning Haolan, he left the study. Looking at Ning Duan's back, he couldn't help but think of the Dark Tiger King song that he had heard in Lung Ruoxu's house. "A child with a mother is like a treasure. A child without a mother is like a blade of grass." He was deeply touched now. Perhaps Ning Duan's status was not as high as his, but Ning Duan had his parents' love, while he had been alone since he was young. If it wasn't for his ancestors' love, it was hard to say whether he could have grown up safely. Putting away his sadness, Ning Haolan left the study and walked toward the garden. Cheng Xian was the only one in the garden. He sat on a stone chair, and the stone table in front of him was filled with all sorts of delicacies. He ate wildly without a care for his image, and Ning Haolan could not help but laugh when he saw this. If your admirers see their idol eating in such a manner, I wonder if they'll regret it. Ning Haolan teased before taking a seat across from Cheng Xian. Who has the time to care about what they think? Cheng Xian said nonchalantly as he gnawed on a large chicken leg in his hand. Where are Lung Ruoxue and the rest? Ning Haolan couldn't help but ask when he saw that Cheng Xian was alone. They've gone back, Cheng Xian said as he ate. Oh, Ning Haolan nodded. He did not know why, but he felt a little disappointed when Lung Ruoxue was not around. Are you done with your things? What's wrong? Cheng Xian asked again, not sensing anything unusual about Ning Haolan. Yes, I'm fine now. Ning Haolan nodded. Oh, right. What do you plan to do with your troublesome sister? Cheng Xian asked curiously. What else can we do? Of course, Well, deal with him according to the clan rules. Ning Haolon replied honestly. What I mean is that if you want to deal with Ning, sure, I'm afraid you'll face some resistance. Cheng Xian said. He was a bystander, and he was a good friend of Ning Haolon's, so he naturally had to think a little more on his behalf. You mean uncle? Ning Haolon's head was throbbing. It was indeed difficult to deal with eldest uncle. If it weren't for him doting on Ning Sheer all these years, how could a mere concubine's daughter like her be able to strut around in the Ning family's main residence? He can be considered one of them. However, if he knew about Ning Xie's past actions, I'm afraid he'd be extremely disappointed. The resistance I'm referring to is mainly those old fogies in your Ning family. They probably won't let go of such a good chess piece like Ning Xie. Cheng Xian said, in a family like theirs, unless it was a woman with extremely high talent, women were just pawns for marriage alliances. Furthermore, Ning Xie was extremely beautiful. Even if she made a mistake, in the eyes of some people, she would not be easily dealt with. However, he knew very well that Haolon was determined to kill Ning Xie, not just because she had done something wrong. Chapter 1545. The competition continues. 3. Thank you for the reminder, but this time I won't let Ning Xie have a chance to make a comeback. Ning Haolon said coldly. He had been waiting for this day for a long time. How could he let go of such a good opportunity? If she has Lung Ruoxu's help, Ning Xie will definitely not be able to escape. Cheng Xian said with a smirk. Understand. She probably won't let Ning Xie off either. Ning Haolon nodded. Then, the two of them smiled at each other with a tacit understanding. After Lung Ruoxu left Land Garden, she did not return to her own residence. Instead, she went straight to Ning Shan's guest room. However, she saw an unexpected person in the guest room, Ning Yan. However, Ning Yan was not surprised to see Lung Ruoxu. The two of them nodded lightly. Then, Lung Ruoxu took out a black elixir and handed it to Ning Hai, who was by the bed. Ning Hai took the pill and stuffed it into Ning Shan's mouth without thinking. Then his tiger-like eyes stared at Ning Shan on the bed. He did not ask what pill Ruoxu had given him because he believed that Ruoxu would not harm Ning Shan. Ning Shan's situation was also a little different from Ning Duan's. This was because Ning Shan had always been very quiet. Every day, other than eating and sleeping, he did not make any noise or drool. He also rarely spoke. However, from his clear eyes, one could see that something was not right, because Ning Shan was always very lost. You've refined the antidote to the soul-forgetting pill. Ning Yan came to Lung Ruoxu's side and asked softly. Yes. Lung Ruoxu nodded, then looked up at Ning Yan. Ning Yan was a famous tigress in the divine realm. She looked like she was in her early 30s. She was very beautiful and had a hot and sexy body. She was now a god-tier master. She had seen Ning Yan once on the divine mainland, but she did not get a good look at her. At that time, she had heard a lot about Ning Yan's reputation. Later, she heard that Ning Yan had caused her husband's death through domestic violence. She really knew nothing about this Ning Yan. However, a daughter who could get her godfather's love must have something extraordinary. As for Ning Yan's reputation, she didn't comment. After all, if she took it too seriously, she would be no different from a fool. Some things had to be seen with one's own eyes. Little sister is really amazing. I often hear father mention you. The number of times he talks about you in my ear makes me a little jealous. Ning Yan complimented him and said, half-jokingly, Godfather's love is Ruoxu's good fortune. Lung Ruoxu said very politely. She was still not sure of Ning Yan's intentions, so she did not have any way to deal with it. She could only deal with it as it came. Younger sister is indeed likable. It is normal for father to like you, Ning Yan said with a smile. Lung Ruoxu did not know how to reply to her. Coincidentally, Ning Shan had woken up and helped Lung Ruoxu out of her predicament. Brother, big sister Ruoxu, what's wrong with me? Where was this place? I'm in the middle of a competition, right? Ning Shan looked at the unfamiliar environment he was in and was still a little lost. Shana, you're injured, so we're still in the main residence. Ning Hai explained with a smile. What about the competition? Do I still have a chance? Ning Shan had no memory of what had happened after he was injured, so he was a little anxious. Don't worry. The competition has been suspended. Ning Yin said. Young miss. What are you doing here? Seeing Ning Yin, Ning Shan could not help but feel a little terrified. If little sister Ruoxue can be here, why can't I be here? Lung Yin said angrily. Ning Shan was in a difficult position. Could he say that he was close to sister Ruoxue, but not to Ning Yin? Furthermore, Ning Yin was the eldest daughter of the Ning family. In his heart, she had always been a high and mighty figure. Although sister Ruoxue was also the goddaughter of the old ancestor, he still felt very close to her. Shana, you just recovered from your injury, so don't think too much. You still have a chance in the game. Lung Ruoxue could see Ning Shan's awkwardness and helped him to change the topic. I won't be careless anymore. Ning Shan said, a little embarrassed. Don't think about that. Your task now is to rest. Lung Ruoxue gave a half command, then gave Ning Shan a few more instructions before she got up and left. Ning Yin left with her. Lung Ruoxue brought the grapes and lotus out of the courtyard and was about to part ways with Ning Yin, who knew that before she could speak, Ning Yin would say, I'm going to see father, so he'll go with you. Hearing Ning Yin's words, Lung Ruoxue couldn't refuse and could only nod. However, she was a little depressed because she didn't understand what this eldest miss of the Ning family wanted to do. Why did she have to cling on to her? However, she could tell that Ning Yin had no ill intentions towards her, so she naturally didn't think of using her mind-reading ability to read Ning Yin's mind. The two of them walked side by side at the front. Ning Yin kept trying to find a topic to talk about, while Lung Ruoxue answered her questions. If Ning Yin did not ask, Lung Ruoxue would not take the initiative to speak. Just like that, they slowly walked to the forbidden area at the back of the mountain. When they arrived at Master Ning's courtyard, Lung Ruoxue had no intention of going in with Ning Yin. However, Ning Yin seemed to have read her mind and took the initiative to invite her. Little sister Ruoxue, come with me to see father. If he knows that you've refined the antidote to the soul-forgetting pill, he'll definitely be very happy. Yes. Lung Ruoxue nodded unwillingly. Then, Ning Yin held her arm and pulled her into Master Ning's courtyard. As soon as they reached the garden, they saw Master Ning and the first elder playing chess on the stone chairs in the garden. Ning Yin quickly called out, Father, we're here to see you. Master Ning looked up when he heard Ning Yan's voice. However, when he saw Lung Ruoxue beside her, he immediately smiled. Swear you're finally out. How's the production of the antidote for the soul-forgetting pill? Father, don't you see my existence? Don't be so fickle in love with the new. Ning Yin saw that she was being ignored by her own father, and she was angry and amused at the same time. Of course, she was also a little jealous. I see it. How can I not see Yena? The master of the Ning family said awkwardly. In fact, his attention was all on Shui. Lung Ruoxue, who was listening to the conversation between the father and daughter, tried her best to reduce her presence. She did not want to be jealous of Ning Yin and treat herself as an imaginary enemy. After all, women's jealousy was unreasonable. However, Master Ning obviously did not plan to let her go. After dealing with Ning Yin, he looked at Lung Ruoxue expectantly. Swear? You haven't answered me yet. Godfather, I've already made the antidote for the soul-forgetting pill and fed it to Ning Shan. Lung Ruoxue replied helplessly. Chapter 1546. The Beautiful Dolphin Man That Was Caught. 1. Really? Swear, you're not coaxing me, are you? It's only been a few days, and you've already made it? Master Ning said in disbelief, and the great elder's face was also full of disbelief. Yes. Lung Ruoxue nodded and passed Master Ning a bottle of the soul-forgetting antidote that she had concocted herself. Godfather, you can find someone to try it on. He'll go back and rest first. After Lung Ruoxue finished speaking, she turned around and left. When a master of the Ning family heard her words, he hurriedly called Ning Yin over and ordered him to go to the prison and bring out a prisoner who had taken the soul-forgetting pill. After trying it out, the master of the Ning family was overjoyed. The great elder had been developing the antidote for the soul-forgetting pill for a long time, but there had been no progress. Now that his goddaughter had made it, he was honored. After seeing the effects, he immediately went to look for Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue did not expect her godfather to come looking for her so quickly. She was helpless. Shui, can you give me a portion of the soulless antidote's formula? The master of the Ning family said, a little embarrassed. Godfather, doesn't your Ning family often use this forget soul on members who make mistakes? What does it matter if we have the antidote or not? Lung Ruoxue was confused. That's true, but since we've refined the antidote to the soul-forgetting pill, our Ning family naturally has to keep a portion of it. Master Ning explained. Oh, Lung Ruoxue finally understood. So, Godfather wanted to save it. Knowing her godfather's intentions, Lung Ruoxue took out the prescription of the soul-forgetting antidote and handed it to Master Ning. The master of the Ning family glanced at the formula in his hand and put it into his storage ring. Then he said, Shui, since Ningshan is fine, the clan competition will continue in 3 days. But we haven't found out about the poisoning yet. Lung Ruoxue reminded. It's okay. The competition can go on as usual. We'll continue to investigate the poisoning incident. There's no delay in either. The master of the Ning family said disapprovingly. Yes. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Although she did not know if Ning Haolon had mentioned Ning Duan's confession to her godfather, since Ning Shan's injuries had been cured and Ning Haolon was investigating the poisoning incident, she naturally did not need to worry. For the next 3 days, Lung Ruoxue didn't step out of the house at all. However, Ning Yin became her regular customer. Ning Yin would report to her every afternoon and chat with her about everything. She even said that she wanted to be her guide and take her around the Ning family's divine territory. Lung Ruoxue found it hard to reject him and could only stall for time. Ning Yin seemed to be very serious. She even said that she would take her to the Ning family's divine realm after the clan competition. 3 days later, the clan competition that had been paused for a period of time started again as scheduled. Because of the accident in Ning Shan's and Ning Duan's last match, the acting clan head and clan elders decided to redo their matches after a discussion, while the others' matches would be normal. When Grape and Lotus Seed learned of this news, they were very indignant because they felt that this was unfair to Ning Shan, and that Ning Duan, he had clearly done something wrong. It was fine if he was not punished by the family, but they actually wanted him to compete again. It was really preposterous. They felt aggrieved for Ning Shan and also regretted that they had not taught Ning Duan enough in the cave. Sitting in the audience seats of the third arena, Lung Ruoxue looked at the grapes and lotus seeds that were pouting. She could not help but laugh. What? Are you guys still angry? Miss, I don't know what's wrong with the young master of the Ning family. He clearly knew that Ning Duan was the one who poisoned him, but he still allowed him to participate in the competition. This is outrageous. Grape said angrily. It's just that there's not enough evidence. If we don't let him participate in the competition, the 19th Elder won't let this matter rest. Actually, from her point of view, it was not important whether Ning Duan participated in this internal competition or not. After all, Ning Duan's strength was not even ranked in the Ning family. After Ning Shan's poison was cured, it was no longer within her concern when Ning Duan and Ning Shi would be punished by the family. Moreover, they had already punished Ning Duan. As for Ning Shi, it was only a matter of time. The 19th Elder is really unreasonable. You're like a fly, Lin Zixin said, feeling touched. In the past few days when she had been living in the Ning family, she had heard the name of the 19th Elder a lot. Moreover, when a young lady had been brought into the main residence for questioning, the 19th Elder seemed to have caused trouble for her. Miss, I heard that Ning Shi is young Master Ning's sister. Do you think he? Grape said worriedly. Although she did not finish her sentence, Lung Ruoxue immediately understood what she meant. Seeing Grape and Lotus Seed speaking one after another, Lung Ruoxue was at a loss whether to laugh or cry. Who did you hear this from? A guard of the Ning family told me. Miss, the young master of the Ning family actually hid this from us. What do you think he wants to do? Grape's face was full of doubt. Grape, don't doubt the person you use, and don't use the person you doubt. Ning Haolon didn't tell us about this probably because he didn't think it was necessary. In other words, Ningxi is nothing in his eyes, so let's not make wild guesses. Besides, if he really dares to protect Ningxi, I won't let him off either. Lung Ruoxue gave it some thought and smiled. Then let's see how he performs. Grape nodded seriously. Her serious expression made Lung Ruoxue laugh. Ha ha, grapes! You're getting more and more adorable. Lung Ruoxue stretched out her snow-white hand and touched her beautiful face as she teased. Miss, you're teasing me. Grape's face was flushed red as he said angrily. Lung Ruoxue laughed evilly. At this moment, the competition that had been paused for a while had officially started. Just as Lung Ruoxue had expected, this time, Ningxi won without any suspense and entered the next round of the competition very smoothly. When the Ning family saw that Ningxi was unscathed, they were also deeply surprised. This was because they had all known that Ningxi had been affected by the soul-forgetting spell. However, looking at how energetic he was now, they knew that he was fine. Only a small number of people in the Ning family knew that Lung Ruoxue had refined the soul-forgetting antidote. Hence, when they saw Ningxi, they could not help but whisper to each other. However, no matter how they reacted, they were not within Lung Ruoxue's scope of observation. As time passed, the preliminary round ended very quickly. After the preliminaries ended, a total of 500 clansmen of the Ning family entered the next stage of the competition. From the middle to the end of the competition, all the competitions would be held in the main arena. The strength of the participants in the preliminaries was quite different, so there was not much suspense. However, from the middle of the competition, there would be a real competition. Moreover, all the teams would not be divided according to age, but by drawing lots. Chapter 1547, The Beautiful Dolphin Man Caught, 2. After a 3-day break, the mid-stage of the competition officially began in the main arena. Lung Ruoxue sat on the VIP seats on the main stage, her beautiful eyes looking around. There were more people from the Ning family coming to watch the competition today than before. The entire competition ground was almost full of people. Moreover, the people who were participating in the competition were in high spirits, and it seemed like they were determined to win. Before the competition, she had specially gone to see Brother Ning and Ningxi. Although Brother Ning had kept his emotions in check, she could see that Brother Ning was also holding back a breath in his heart. In addition to Ningxi's accident, this competition was very important to Brother Ning. As for Ningxi, he was still young, so his emotions could be seen on his face. However, he was quite confident. Seeing him like this, Lung Ruoxue was also relieved. Miss Lung is really amazing. You can actually make the antidote for the soul-forgetting pill. Our Ning family's great elder has been researching for so long and still couldn't make it, but you've made it in just a few days. At this moment, an enigmatic voice rang in Lung Ruoxue's ears. When Lung Ruoxue heard this, she lifted her beautiful eyes and looked at the owner of the voice. Isn't this the 19th elder? Long time no see. Lung Ruoxue greeted with a smile. As for what Elder 19 had said, she completely ignored it. Yup, young Miss Lung is really amazing. Something that even our Grand Elder couldn't refine, you actually refined it in just a few days. 19th Elder could not help but ask when he saw Lung Ruoxue avoiding the important points and avoiding the trivial ones. I was just lucky, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently, ignoring the implied meaning behind 19th Elder's words. Yup, our great elder doesn't have your luck, AI. It's really infuriating to compare. The 19th elder sighed, his face full of regret. 19th elder, are you feeling indignant for the great elder? Hearing his words, the head elder of the Craftsmen's Guild headquarters lifted his eyelids and said with a faint smile, I didn't expect the 19th elder to have such a good relationship with your Ning family's first elder. However, your family's first elder isn't here, so isn't your flattery a little redundant? Lung Ruoxue also laughed with a hint of mockery. 19th elder was so angry that he couldn't speak. Yes, he had wanted to sow discord between Lung Ruoxue and the Grand Elder. Furthermore, he had initially thought that after he had said those words, many elders would agree with him. who knew that no one would pay any attention to his words. Not only that, the person from the Armament Guild headquarters was even on the same side as Lung Ruoxue. He was really infuriated. What? AI? Why is there always such a person in this world? It's fine if he's not liked, but he always wants to jump out and isolate others. What if he meets someone with a bad temper one day and gets killed? Lung Ruoxue mumbled to herself. Miss, this kind of person deserves to be killed. Grape, who was standing at the side, quickly said, Young Miss Lung, your maidservant really doesn't know the rules. We are talking here. How can a maidservant have a right to interrupt? Lung Ruoxue and Grape's cooperation had infuriated 19th Elder. However, old Grandmadam was still here, so even if he was dissatisfied with Lung Ruoxue, he did not dare to criticize her. He could only vent his anger on Grape. However, Grape listened to his words and only glanced at him disdainfully and did not look at him again. This made him extremely angry. Freedom of speech. Besides, I'm a very democratic master. Although Grape is just a maidservant, she has the right to speak. Lung Ruoxue said disapprovingly. Her words made Grape even more proud. She looked at the 19th Elder provocatively, not even bothering to hide the disdain in her eyes. A servant is a servant. How can young Lady Lung not distinguish between master and servant? The 19th Elder suppressed the anger in his heart and said disapprovingly. Then, Elder 19, please teach me. What is the difference between master and servant? Is it only by beating and scolding your subordinates all day long that you can show your dignity as a master? Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. At least as a servant, you have to have the rules of a servant. Someone like her, who casually interjects when the master is talking, is absolutely not allowed. 19th Elder thought for a moment and pointed to the grapes. 19th Elder, she's my maidservant, so I'm the one who decides whether she's good or not. If others can't stand it, then it's like a dog taking a mouse to meddle in other people's business. Oh, are you very free? Lung Ruoxue pointed to the mulberry and scolded the locust. How can I be free? I'm very busy. 19th Elder gritted his teeth as he cursed in his heart. That damned Lung Ruoxue. She actually called him a dog. However, if he knew that in Lung Ruoxue's heart he was not even comparable to a dog, he would probably be even angrier. Then you should go back to your work. Don't waste your time here. Lung Ruoxue urged. Her words made Grape burst out in laughter, while 19th Elder's old face flushed red. The clan competition is of utmost importance to the Ning clan. How can I leave it, Will? 19th Elder's forehead broke out in cold sweat as he tried to find an excuse for himself. However, the Ning family master's next words made him sink even deeper into darkness. It's fine. If 19th Elder has more important matters to deal with, he'll allow you to leave. I'm sorry, the master of the Ning family said indifferently. Although his words touched Lung Ruoxue's heart, 19th Elder felt very upset when he heard it. Old Grandmadam is helping an outsider to bully me, but I dare not say anything. Of course, I don't plan to leave just like that. Otherwise, I'll lose all my face. 19th Elder, I've already agreed for you to leave and attend to your own important matters. So why are you still sitting here? Lung Ruoxue reminded him kindly when she saw that 19th Elder had not moved for a long time. Nothing is more important than the clan competition. The 19th Elder forced a smile and looked at the other elders with grievance. Unfortunately, no one was willing to speak up for him. In fact, the other elders all felt that the 19th Elder had brought this upon himself. The ancestor was still here. Why would he find trouble with Lung Ruoxue? Wasn't that a case of having nothing better to do? Then you can stay here obediently. The master of the Ning family glanced at the 19th Elder and said, he really didn't like the 19th Elder, no matter how he looked at him now. How could the Ning family have such a junior? He had no eyesight at all. Yes, the 19th Elder replied in a low voice. The old ancestor had spoken, so how could he dare to disobey? Initially, he wanted to make Lung Ruoxue feel uncomfortable, who knew that not only did he not get any advantage, he was even despised by the old Grandmadam. He was so depressed. As for the other elders who had the same thoughts as him, they naturally did not dare to speak up when they saw that 19th elder did not manage to gain any benefits from Lung Ruoxue. Without the annoying flies, Lung Ruoxue's ears quieted down and she could finally focus on the competition. Chapter 1548. The Dolphin Beauty Who Was Caught 3. At this moment, there were a total of 5 fighting rings in the main arena, and each ring was filled with pairs of people fighting each other. The level of the competition was obviously much higher than the preliminaries. However, Lung Ruoxue didn't know many people in the Ning family, so their competition didn't attract much interest from her. The middle stage of the competition was divided into 5 days, with 100 participants each day. The competition of Ning Shan and Ning Hai was on the 3rd and last day, respectively. Therefore, other than these 2 days, Lung Ruoxue was basically just a bystander. In fact, if it wasn't for her godfather, she would have gone back to her room to sleep. As if knowing that she was not in a good mood, Ning Yin came to her not long after the competition started. "Little sister Ruoxue, let's go outside for a walk," Ning Yin suggested softly in Lung Ruoxue's ear. Lung Ruoxue looked at Ning Yin and thought to herself, "This lady of the Ning family is really willful and reckless." At first, she was too embarrassed to leave, but since Miss Ning didn't care, why should she care? Glancing at the master of the Ning family, she nodded slightly. Then, Ning Yin led her out of the Ning family's main residence. "Where do you want to take me?" Walking on the main city streets, Lung Ruoxue was rather curious. "They'll take you to catch some fish," Ning Yin said with a smile, her face full of pride. Lung Ruoxue wiped the cold sweat from her forehead, speechless. Ning Yin had brought her out of the Ning family just to catch fish? Why did this matter sound so unreliable? Even Grape and Lotus Seed, who were standing beside her, had a look of disbelief on their faces. "This isn't an ordinary fish, but it's not easy to catch either." Ning Yin's beautiful face was full of yearning. In fact, she was a little annoyed by Ning Xier's constant nagging of Lung Ruoxue, so she had pulled Lung Ruoxue out. "Where is this fish?" Lung Ruoxue's curiosity was piqued. However, seeing that they were about to leave the city, she really had no idea where Ning Yin was taking her. "There's a coal pond not far from the Ning family's main city. The fish are in there," Ning Yin said with a smile. The not far she was referring to was the distance from the Ning family's main city to there. It would take about half an hour to fly there. For the people of the Divine Realm, this was indeed not a long distance. Once they were out of the Ning family's main city, Ning Yin summoned her flying beast and gestured for Lung Ruoxue and the others to get on. Her flying beast was a beautiful white crane with no stray hair. It was a 7th-level sacred beast and looked a little arrogant. It even ignored Ning Yin, its master. When Lung Ruoxue saw this, she could not help but tease. "This beastie of yours seems to be a little narcissistic. It's not satisfied with me as its master," Ning Yin said helplessly. As a master who was despised by beastie, she felt very aggrieved. When they sat on the back of the red-crowned crane, as if to verify Ning Yan's words, it flew into the sky in a slightly rude manner. It even swayed a few times from time to time. However, the mischievous glint in its eyes did not escape Lung Ruoxue's eyes. This bird's feathers are not bad. They're quite soft and should be enough to make a blanket. Lung Ruoxue's soft and boneless little hand gently stroked the red-crowned crane's fur. Ning Yin heard Lung Ruoxue's words, and black lines appeared on her forehead. What did Lung Ruoxue mean? Could it be that he wanted to use He Air's feathers as a blanket? This can't do. How could she bear to? That red-crowned crane was called the Lung Ruoxue's words were very loud, so it naturally heard them. However, it did not take it to heart, because it was very clear that its master would not allow that weak woman to treat it this way. Upon hearing Lung Ruoxue's thoughts, Grape and Lotus Seed, the 2 maidservants, immediately agreed. "Miss Idea is great. The blanket made from the feathers of this red-crowned crane will definitely be warm and soft." Didn't Sister Yin want to give me a present? I don't want anything else. Just give me some feathers from this bird." As Lung Ruoxue spoke, She reached out to the thickest feathers on Crane's back. The feathers there were dense and soft, and felt extremely good to the touch. Little sister Ruashua. This, Ning Yin was put in a difficult position. She did say that she wanted to give Lung Ruashua a gift, but she had no intention of giving Crane's feathers. One should know that Crane's most precious thing was its snow-white and beautiful feathers. If she gave away Crane's feathers, he would hate her to death. However, Lung Ruashua seemed to be very serious. So, for a moment, she did not know what to say. Sister Yin, it's settled then. Lung Ruashua did not allow her to reject her and smiled. Following that, she turned to Grape and Lianzi and said, "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and help me pluck my fur." With that, she grabbed a bunch of Crane's thick feathers and pulled them out by the roots. In an instant, an earth-shattering shriek filled the air. Crane, whose feathers had been plucked, was trembling in pain. While it was still in the air, its huge body began to shake uncontrollably. Lung Ruashua and the others could only hold on to its feathers tightly and pull them out as they did so, which made Ning Yan's heart ache. Crane's heart was filled with anger. It endured the pain in its body and descended. The moment it landed, it wanted to throw Lung Ruashua and the others off its body. However, Lung Ruashua and the others were already prepared and would not give it the chance. Instead, they seized the time and continued plucking its feathers. Seeing this, Ning Yin quickly pleaded for here, "Little sister Ruashua, don't pull out. It hurts. Sister Yin, don't worry. When I've pulled enough, I naturally won't pull anymore." Lung Ruashua chuckled and gave Ning Yin a look, telling her to stay out of it. Ning Yin could tell that Lung Ruashua was taking revenge for her. Even though her heart felt warm, the thought of her going to suffer still made her heart ache. However, she also wanted to see how Lung Ruashua would discipline her, so she could only walk to the other side and stay there. Otherwise, she would definitely stop her. Seeing that Ning Yin had left, Lung Ruashua and the other two picked up Crane's feathers even more unscrupulously. Although Crane wanted to resist, it could not shake off the three women on its back. This made it extremely angry. Crane could be seen flying up and down in the air, trying to get Lung Ruashua and the other two off its back. With them around, it couldn't transform even if it wanted to. Furthermore, its back hurt so much that it was on the verge of tears. What was even more infuriating was that after Lung Ruashua had pulled out enough feathers from its back, she had her eyes on the feathers on its neck. The feathers there were softer, but it was also more painful to pull them out. Having its feathers pulled out, here felt like dying. At the same time, he felt even more depressed. He was a dignified 7th-level sacred beast. Why couldn't he do anything to 3 humans who were weaker than him? It could not understand. Chapter 1549. The beautiful dolphin man caught 4. The feathers on Lung Ruashua, Grape and Lotus Seed's hands flew up and down, floating in the air. Their movements were extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, a piece of feather on Hier's body had been cut off. However, the 3 of them had no intention of stopping, because Hier was not begging for mercy. After an unknown period of time, the exhausted Crane finally broke down. It cried and begged, "Don't pluck my fur anymore. I was wrong." It was truly afraid. A dignified 7th-ranked Saint Divine beast was actually unable to do anything to 3 weak humans. If this were to spread out, no one would believe it. However, no matter how hard it tried, it still couldn't shake them off. So it could only give in. Wrong? Where did you go wrong? Lung Ruashua lifted her beautiful eyes and smiled faintly. However, her hands did not stop moving. In fact, wherever she went, the feathers on Crane's body would leave. I shouldn't have looked down on you," Craner said softly. Tears were welling up in its black eyes, but it did not dare to cry. Its aggrieved look made one's heart ache. Unfortunately, other than its master, Lung Ruashua and the other 2 did not care at all. Furthermore, its master was not in front of it. "There's still more," Lung Ruashua continued to ask. Her actions of plucking the feathers were as smooth as flowing water. "I shouldn't have given Master such a bad attitude. Woo, I want Dare to do it again." Crane wasn't stupid. It was very clear why Lung Ruoxue would treat it like this. The reason why it didn't treat its master seriously, other than because of its master's low strength, was also because of its master's pampering. Unfortunately, even its master wasn't helping it anymore. Therefore, it could only lower its head to this demon. After all, this demon wouldn't care about it. It seems that you understand. Oomph. As a beastie, you actually dare to show your master attitude. You really don't take your job well. Only Sister Yin indulges you. If it were me, I would have beaten you up long ago. Lung Ruoxue reprimanded. Hearing what she said, although he didn't say a word, he couldn't help but think in his heart, other than plucking hair, do you know anything else? Do you think you can beat it into submission with your strength? It had lived for so long, but it had never heard of a puny middle-stage divine being able to beat a 7th grade sacred beast into submission. However, it definitely did not dare to say this out loud. Furthermore, it had to put on an expression of humility as it was afraid that Lung Ruoxue would continue to pluck its feathers. It had embarrassed the sacred beasts and the Crane clan. It no longer had the face to meet its own kind. It was remorseful in its heart. You better behave yourself in the future. Otherwise, they'll pull you out every time I see you. They'll pull out all the hair on your body and see if you still dare to be smug. Seeing that Crane remained silent, Lung Ruoxue continued to warn him. I really don't dare to do it again. He said hurriedly, tears streaming down her face. Right now, in her eyes, Lung Ruoxue was the incarnation of a demon. How could she dare to provoke her? Then I'll give you a chance. He'll let you go this time. Lung Ruoxue was a magnanimous person, and Crane, who had its feathers plucked, was still grateful to her. Thank you for your generosity. Here, set like a little wife. Miss, I'm afraid these feathers aren't enough to make a blanket. Why don't we pluck some more? Seeing that Crane had given in, Grape still suggested with an evil smile. Her words scared Crane so much that its little heart was trembling, and it couldn't help but curse in its heart. Bad person. Bad guy. These women were really too evil. Sob. Master, quickly come and save me from the devil's claws. It's okay. They'll pull it out again next time. Lung Ruoxue looked at Crane, who was trembling all over and very kindly did not agree. One should always stop while they were ahead. Then, she called Ning Yin back and prepared to continue their journey. When Ning Yin returned, she saw Crane's uneven feathers of different lengths and felt a deep sense of sympathy. When Crane saw her, it was extremely affectionate and threw its head into her arms with tears in its eyes. Ning Yin was stunned for a moment before she came back to her senses. She smiled and patted Crane's head to comfort it. However, she could not help but think that Sister Ruoxue was so capable. He had never been so close to her. After consoling them for a while, they continued on their journey. This time, Crane was clearly much more obedient. Not long after, they finally arrived at their destination. Lung Ruoxue jumped off Crane's back and looked at the cold pond that Ning Yin had mentioned. The area of this cold pool was not very large, only about 10 square meters in size. The water was very deep. Although she could see white fish swimming around, the pool was so deep that she could not see the bottom. Not only that, this cold pool was also unusually cold. She could feel the cold air from some distance away from the cold pool. The surrounding scenery was like a painting, and the climate was warm and pleasant. However, there was a cold pool that did not match the surrounding scenery. This was really too strange. Even though Lung Ruoxue had her doubts, she did not think too much about it. This was because it seemed like this cold pond had been here for a long time. Little Sister Ruoxue, I'm telling you, the fish here are very delicious, and I drool just thinking about it. However, those fish are too cunning, so they're very difficult to catch. Ning Yin was very excited at first, but the thought of not being able to eat delicious food made her depressed again. Sister Yin, this cold pond should be quite old, right? Lung Ruoxue asked with a smile. Even though this cold pond is not big, it is still quite famous in the divine realm. Especially the fish here, I guarantee that you will want to eat more after you have tried it. Ning Yin said, drooling. Then how can I catch the fish here? Lung Ruoxue walked to the side of the pond and looked at the fish swimming happily. The temperature of the water was too low, so it was unrealistic to go into the pool to catch fish. Hee, I've already made preparations. Ningyin took out 4 fishing rods from her storage bangle and handed them to Lung Ruoxua, grape, and lotus seed. Lung Ruoxua looked at the fishing rod in her hand and was speechless. So Ning Yin had brought her here to fish. But what did the fish here eat? As she was thinking, she saw Ning Yin walk to the side of the pool and pull up a few luxuriant waterweeds. The waterweeds were silver in color, and there seemed to be ice beads hanging on them. The leaves were semicircular and very thick, but the temperature of the waterweeds was very low. This is bait. Lung Ruoxua asked Ning Yin as she held the grass in her hand. Only by using this kind of water grass can you have a chance to catch the fish in the cold pond. However, it also depends on luck, because the fish here are very cunning. Ning Yin explained. Then, she hung a leaf on the hook and threw the line into the cold pool. She took out a small stool and sat by the pool. Looking at Ning Yin's actions, Lung Ruoxua did not know what to say. It turned out that the fish here were vegetarian. However, even though she thought about it, she still put the grass on the hook and started to fish by the pond. Chapter 1550. The Beautiful Dolphin Man That Was Caught 5. Not long after she placed the hook into the water, Lung Ruoxua's fishing rod reacted. With a gentle pull, a white fish the size of a palm was pulled ashore. Little sister Ruoxua, your luck is too good. Ning Yan's face was full of envy, jealousy, and hatred. She was the one who hit the fishing rod first, but her fishing rod didn't move at all. This was too much of a bully. Following that, Lung Ruoxua's fishing rod caught more fish one after another. Even grapes and lotus seed caught 2 fish each. However, Ning Yan's fishing rod did not react at all. This made her even more depressed. You guys are such bullies. Ning Yan couldn't help but complain. We were just lucky. However, the fish we caught weren't big. The big fish here were all saved for Sister Yin. Lung Ruoxua smiled as she consoled him. At least you know how to talk. Hearing Lung Ruoxua's words, Ning Yan's heart burst with joy, and she continued to focus on fishing. She had to catch a big fish. However, Ning Yan's fishing rod didn't move until the grapes and lotus seeds were done roasting the fish. Ning Yin felt indignant as she ate the grilled fish in her hand. Her resentful eyes would drift towards Lung Ruoxua from time to time. Sob, why was she so unlucky? Seeing Ning Yan's childish behavior, Lung Ruoxua could not help but laugh. She then handed her a fresh and juicy fish. The fish in the cold pond tasted really good. It was comparable to the one in her bracelet. Ning Yin took the fish and gnawed on it with gritted teeth, as if she wanted to vent all her anger on the grilled fish. Suddenly, she saw the fishing rod she had placed on the shore move and quickly ran over to pull it back from the pool. Arg, little sister Ruoxua, it's a big fish, come and help me. Ning Yin held the fishing rod tightly, but the fish he had caught was not small. It was struggling hard in the water, trying to keep a distance from her. The water in the pool splashed, and the water kept rising. They're here. Seeing this, Lung Ruoxua, grape, and lotus quickly ran to Ning Yan's side to help her hold on to the fishing rod. This time, the fish that Ning Yan had caught was indeed not small, and the 4 of them almost could not hold it. They were in a deadlock with the big fish underwater. Lung Ruoxua saw that she didn't know how long it would take for them to reach the end, so she moved the Dark Tiger King and his wife out of the house. The moment the Dark Tiger King came out, it smiled at Lung Ruoxua and said, "Little girl, did you miss us? You're finally willing to let us out for some fresh air. Don't talk nonsense, hurry up and help." Lung Ruoxua said in an unpleasant tone when she saw the Tiger King acting all smug the moment he appeared. "All right, watch me." The Shadow Tiger King's huge body stood beside Lung Ruoxua. Its huge claws grabbed onto the fishing rod. With a light lift and a pull, it easily pulled the big fish out of the water. Everyone was dumbfounded. Ugh, was this a fish? Lung Ruoxua was speechless as she looked at the huge creature that was being dragged onto the shore. It was obviously a dolphin. This dolphin was almost 2 meters long, and its body was like a small mountain. Its entire body was light blue, and its skin was glowing with a faint light. Its pair of watery black eyes were glaring at them with extreme anger. Lung Roashue couldn't understand why there would be dolphins in the cold pond. Dolphins were obviously creatures of the sea. This was too unbelievable. Moreover, it seemed that this dolphin's strength wasn't low. It had reached the strength of an 8th-ranked sacred beast. It should be comparable to the Dark Tiger King. However, when the beastie in the water came to land, it would only be looking for abuse. Hence, even if this dolphin's strength was not low, Lung Roashue did not think highly of it. Moreover, she did not know what had happened to this dolphin, but its body was actually entangled by the fishing line. No wonder it was caught. Lung Roashue pitied the dolphin when she saw its sorry state. "I want to catch fish," Ning Yin mumbled softly, as if she despised the dolphin. In fact, she was not to be blamed. After all, humans lived on land, so only the beasts on land were most suitable for them. As for the beasts in the water, they were useless in the eyes of humans, and few people would contract with the beasts in the water. Hearing Ning Yan's words, the dolphin was so angry that it kept blowing bubbles from its nostrils. However, because of the Dark Tiger King couple's presence, it was still a little afraid. However, it did not want to be outdone and roared at Ning Yan. "Then why did you fish me up? I'm not a fish." The dolphin was furious, but did not dare to offend Lung Roashue and the others. It was all alone now. If it was in the water, I wouldn't need to be afraid of these humans. I said I wanted to fish. What are you shouting for? Hearing the dolphin roar at her, Ning Yan's temper flared up. "All of you shut up. You're not allowed to argue." Lung Roashue felt a headache coming on when she saw that the human and the dolphin were about to fight. Her words were quite effective. After Ning Yin and the dolphin glared at each other, they really stopped. However, Ning Yin was giving Lung Roashue a face, while the dolphin was giving face to the Tiger King couple beside Lung Roashue. "How did you appear in the cold pond?" Lung Roashue turned her gaze towards the dolphin and asked. Even if you beat her to death, she would never believe that there would be a dolphin living in the cold pond. Hence, she had to clarify things first. "I come from the endless sea. There is an eye of the sea that leads to here, so I naturally ran here. Who knew that I would be so unlucky to be caught by you guys?" The dolphin was rather depressed. After it finished speaking, it lowered its head and did not say anything else. "From the endless sea? Why didn't you stay in the sea? What are you doing in this cold pond?" Ning Yin was a little angry. This stinky dolphin, not only did it delay her fishing, but it also wronged her first. How preposterous! Moreover, the endless ocean was quite far from the Ning family's divine territory. This dolphin wouldn't be able to reach here even if it took a stroll. "You think I wanted to come? I was forced to do so." The dolphin was so aggrieved that it was about to cry, and its big eyes became even more watery. "Could it be that you can't stay in the endless ocean any longer? So you want to change places?" Lung Roashue made a guess when she heard the dolphin's words. Although she did not know where the endless sea was, since it was a sea, it should be quite big. Even if it was to fight for territory, it shouldn't have forced an 8th-ranked sacred beast in the cold pond, right? No, someone wanted to capture me as a contracted beast. I was unwilling, so of course I could only run. Dolphin said honestly. Who would be so blind as to find a dolphin as their contracted beast? You guys aren't of much use on land. Ning Yin said with a look of disdain. Don't look down on me. Although I can't fully display my strength on land, I don't have many opponents in the sea. Dolphin was a little unconvinced. Chapter 1551. The Smiling Celestial Emperor 1. You're a human? Ning Yin sized up the dolphin in front of her curiously, her eyes full of question marks and surprise. You... Dolphin was so angry at Ning Yin that she was speechless. She turned her head and looked at Lung Roashue. Girl, as long as you're willing to help me, they'll definitely repay you. The dolphin's words caused Lung Roashue to feel a little flustered. Even though this was not the first time a beastie had called her girl, she still found it hard to get used to hearing such words from a dolphin. How do you want me to help you? Looking at the dolphin's face that was filled with anticipation, Lung Roashue decided to ignore the word girl that it said. She had always been enthusiastic about helping animals. Moreover, dolphins were one of her favorite animals. Now that this talking dolphin was begging her, as long as it was within her ability, she would not refuse. "Help me get rid of the fishing line first," he said. Dolphin requested. "Yes." Lung Roashua nodded and walked forward to untie the fishing line around the dolphin. After the dolphin regained its freedom, it immediately transformed into a human. Instantly, an extremely beautiful man appeared in front of everyone. This beautiful man was tall and had long, light blue hair that reached his waist. His pair of bright, starry eyes flickered with an alluring light. When he looked at Lung Roashua, there was a faint electric current flashing through his eyes. His pink lips opened slightly, and a soul contract was uttered from his mouth. As the contract's rules descended, it enveloped him and Lung Roashua within it. Upon seeing this scene, everyone present was dumbfounded. None of them had expected that the dolphin would sign a soul contract of its own accord without even asking for Lung Roashua's opinion. After the rules of the contract disappeared, Lung Roashua received looks of sympathy from Ning Yin, Grape, and Lotus. She did not know whether to laugh or cry. When she turned to look at the culprit, she saw that the culprit was looking at her with a shy expression. Cold sweat immediately broke out on her forehead. Although she was already used to the fact that there were always beasts who would automatically form contracts without her permission, this did not mean that she would not be angry. Just as Lung Roashua said one word, she was interrupted by the handsome man in front of her. "You said you would help me, so you can't go back on your word." The dolphin man reminded her with a smirk. Lung Roashua glared at the handsome man in front of her in frustration. She took a deep breath and said in an unpleasant tone, "But I didn't ask you to recognize me as your master. How can you help me if you don't recognize me as your master?" The beautiful dolphin man smiled and asked in return. Then he said to Lung Roashua earnestly, "Didn't I say before that someone wanted to capture me as a contracted beast? I'm afraid it'll be taken away, so I might as well find myself a master first. I like you, so this kind of good thing has fallen into your hands. Others don't have the chance to want me." When he said this, he glanced at Ning Yin as if to say, "I'm talking about her." As expected, Ning Yin had a strong reaction to the dolphin man's words. She widened her eyes and glared at the man in front of her. "You want to recognize me as your master, but I'm not willing. Unless I'm an idiot, I wouldn't accept a useless beastie. I'm useless. My strength is equivalent to a human god king." The dolphin beauty was so angry that smoke was coming out his head as he roared. "So what? Can you defeat a god king on the ground? Do you really think that humans would be stupid enough to fight you in the sea?" Ning Yan's face was full of contempt. "You'll regret it if you look down on me," the beautiful dolphin man said indifferently. Then he looked at Lung Roashua with a face full of resentment, as if he had suffered a great grievance. When Lung Roashua saw the beautiful dolphin man's expression, she was speechless. Not only that, but the dolphin's words had also driven her mad. It turned out that he was afraid of being captured, so he recognized her as his master in a moment of desperation. This had hurt her pride a little. "Master, although I haven't seen many humans, you're the one I have the best impression of." Sensing Lung Roashua's thoughts, the dolphin-like handsome man blinked his big, black eyes that were as bright as diamonds. He walked to Lung Roashua's side and tried to please her. Even though the beautiful dolphin man had said so, Lung Roashua still felt a little upset, so she remained silent. "Master, I really like you." Upon seeing this, the dolphin beauty could only continue to work hard to please Lung Roashua. "What do you like about me?" Finally, Lung Roashua was willing to pay attention to him. She made the beautiful dolphin-like man so beautiful that his tail was about to rise to the sky. "I don't need a reason to like someone. Otherwise, why would I choose you to be my master with so many people here?" Dolphin replied matter-of-factly, but his words were met with contempt from Ning Yin, Grape, and Lotus Seed. "Moreover, you won't suffer a loss if you take me in as a beastie. There are many rare treasures in my hometown. It's almost impossible for you humans to get them easily, but for me, It's as easy as flipping my hand. The dolphin-like man continued to coax her while blinking his bright eyes. He would occasionally throw a charming glance at Lung Ruoxue. It sounds like there are many benefits to accepting you as a beastie, Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. MMH. That's a must. Dolphin was very proud. But I'm still a little angry. What should I do? Lung Ruoxue said with a conflicted expression. Master, why don't you hit me? After the beautiful dolphin finished speaking, he took out a long whip out of nowhere and handed it to Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue looked at the whip and could not help but frown. Putting aside where the dolphin's whip came from, the fact that he had taken out the whip for her to hit him was strange no matter how she thought about it. She did not want to let her thoughts run wild, but she could not control her thoughts. This beautiful man, transformed from a dolphin, had red lips and white teeth. His skin was delicate and smooth, and he looked fragile. He really had the potential to be a little beast. Master, I'm already your little beastie. The beautiful dolphin man who was connected to Lung Ruoxue's heart laughed evilly. After he finished speaking, he even stuffed the whip into Lung Ruoxue's hands. Then, he found a huge green rock and lay down. His meaning was clear. Master, come and whip me. I won't resist. The dolphin-like handsome man's face was filled with shyness, as if there was a trace of anticipation. Seeing his actions, the black lines on Lung Ruoxue's forehead deepened. Ning Yin, Grape, and Lotus Seed also stared with their mouths wide open, not knowing what to say. It was obvious that the dolphin's actions were beyond their expectations. However, the Dark Tiger King and his wife were very calm, as if they were used to it. Master, don't make me wait too long. The beautiful dolphin man's words were already enough to make one's imagination run wild. In addition, he kept throwing charming eyes at Lung Ruoxue. For a moment, Ning Yin and the others all looked at Lung Ruoxue with very ambiguous gazes. Chapter 1552. The Smiling Celestial Emperor. 2. Hurry up and stand up. It's broad daylight and you're already like this. What's wrong with you? Cold sweat trickled down Lung Ruoxue's forehead, causing her to be incoherent. Master's right. It's not good to be like this in broad daylight. Then you can hit me at night when there's no one around. The dolphin-like man gave Lung Ruoxue an I understand look, causing Lung Ruoxue to almost go crazy. Sob, that was not what she meant, okay? Lung Ruoxue was so depressed that she almost vomited blood. That damn dolphin. How dare it misinterpret her words? However, she could only deal with this dolphin's ambiguous words coldly and ignore it. Otherwise, Ning Yin and the others would definitely think that she was angry out of embarrassment and wanted to kill it to silence it. She couldn't let them think that way, so she could only pretend that nothing had happened. Master, let's leave this place first, okay? Seeing that Lung Ruoxue was silent for a long time, the beautiful dolphin man took the initiative to speak again. Actually, he was afraid that the person would chase after them. That person's strength was above them, and if he really caught up, it would be quite troublesome for them. However, he did not dare to make things too clear, because he was afraid that Lung Ruoxue and the others would be afraid. What's the hurry? We just came out. Before Lung Ruoxue could say anything, the Dark Tiger King spoke first with a hint of dissatisfaction. It had already smelled the fragrance of the fish. It was obviously impossible for it to leave without eating a single one. After hearing the Dark Tiger King's words, the dolphin man was so angry that he wanted to open its head to see what it was made of. How could it be so stupid? AI. He hoped that his master would understand his hint. Little girl, I also want to eat fish. The Dark Tiger King ignored the beautiful dolphin man's flirtatious gaze and spoke to Lung Ruoxue. I'll roast it for you when we get back. Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. She could hear the dolphin's words and understood its concerns. After all, a person who could chase a dolphin with the strength of a god king to the point that it had no choice but to flee from its hometown must be an unparalleled expert. She could not afford to offend such a person now. Right. I'll roast it when I get back. The dolphin nodded. Following that, Lung Ruoxue and the rest packed their things and prepared to leave. All of a sudden, The water in the frosty lake churned, and a powerful pressure enveloped them. Lung Ruoxue and the rest instantly found it difficult to breathe, and in the blink of an eye, their faces turned pale. Upon seeing this, Lung Ruoxue and the rest knew that they had encountered an expert. Furthermore, this expert might be the one who wanted to contract the dolphin. Almost instantly, a young man's figure appeared in the middle of the waves. This man was dressed in white and had a handsome face. When his shrewd eyes saw Lung Ruoxue and the others, they flickered for a moment before returning to normal. Immediately after, he retracted his aura and looked at Lung Ruoxue and the rest with an apologetic expression. He said, "I'm sorry for being impolite. May I ask who you are?" Ning Yin asked first, trying to calm herself down. "I'm Xiao Bing. May I know who you are?" Xiao Bing introduced himself, then politely asked for Lung Ruoxue and the others' names. "I'm Lung Ruoxue, and she's my elder sister. They're my maidservants and subordinates." Lung Ruoxue didn't give Ning Yin a chance to speak and introduced him first. Just now, the dolphin had already sent her a voice transmission, saying that this man named Xiao Bing was the one who had been chasing after him and wanted to form a contract with him. So, she naturally had to be careful. Ning Yan's name would make people think of the Ning family. Before she could figure out this man's identity, she naturally didn't want to drag the Ning family into this. After the introduction, Lung Ruoxue sent a voice transmission to Ning Yin. "Sister Yin, this person is the one who chased the dolphin and wanted to form a contract with it." "Oh, little sister Ruoxue, if I remember correctly, this person should be from the Divine Master's estate. The Divine Master's estate has a divine emperor called Xiao Bing. However, I hope that this Xiao Bing is not the one from the Divine Master's estate." Ning Yin replied worriedly. "Why?" Lung Ruoxue was confused. "Sister Ruoxue, you may not know this, but Xiao Bing from the Divine Master's estate is not the strongest in the Divine Master's estate. However, he is a sinister man who likes to play dirty tricks behind people's backs. Therefore, the people in the divine world gave him the nickname Smiling Divine Emperor. In addition, many people would rather offend a divine emperor who is stronger than him than to provoke Xiao Bing, mainly because Xiao Bing is too difficult to deal with. Anyone who is entangled with him will be driven crazy by him. Sai, we have to be careful and not let him find out where that stinky dolphin is. Otherwise, I'm afraid our good days will come to an end." Ning Yin said gloomily, cursing the dolphin in her heart. It was the dolphin's fault that Xiao Bing was provoked. "Yes." Lung Ruoxue nodded her head slightly without a change in expression. The conversation between the two of them had only lasted for a few seconds. However, in order to not let the man in front of her notice anything amiss, she had to smile when she was communicating with Ning Yin. "Hello, Miss Lung. It's a pleasure to meet you." Xiao Bing smiled faintly, but his sharp eyes seemed to be sizing up the others. After a long while, "Are the White Tiger and the Dark Tiger King Miss Lung's beastie?" Xiao Binkai asked. "Yes, I am." Lung Ruoxue nodded. Before she understood Xiao Bing's intentions, she didn't intend to say too much. "I really didn't think that Miss Lung's beastie would have such strength." Xiao Bing exclaimed in admiration with an envious look on his face, while he was trying to guess Lung Ruoxue's identity. This was clearly the Ning family's divine realm. If this young lady was from the Ning family, it would make sense for her to have two powerful beasts. However, this young lad's surname was Lung, which made him suspicious. In the entire firmament, he did not dare to claim that he knew all the clans of various sizes like the back of his hand. However, he was also very clear that among the clans of medium grade and above that he knew, there was no clan with the surname Lung. Furthermore, a clan that could own a God King level beast would definitely not be a small and unknown clan. Furthermore, Lung Ruoxue's strength was extremely low. If she did not come from a top-notch clan, it would be impossible for her to live in the firmament with her strength. In the divinity, only reverent God level cultivators could create their own small world. Hence, only the younger generation of clans with reverent God level cultivators could live in the divinity. Hence, even though he could not figure out Lung Ruoxue's background, Out of careful consideration, he would not rashly ask about her background. However, at the same time, he was also suspicious that Lung Ruoxue had given him a fake name. I'm just lucky to have them. Lung Ruoxue chuckled as she explained. Master, I want to eat grilled fish. Quickly grill it for me. At this moment, the Dark Tiger King interjected at the right time, fully displaying the fact that it was a beastie that was extremely dependent on its master. Yin, who was by its side, also had an expression of anticipation. Having lived for so long, the Shadow Tiger King had long since become a demon. When it heard Lung Ruoxue say that the couple were her beasts, it immediately realized that there was something wrong with this man. Moreover, this man had emerged from the Frost Lake, and the dolphin had also emerged from there. Thus, after some thought, it guessed that this man might be the person who had chased the dolphin to make a contract with it. Chapter 1553. The Smiling Celestial Emperor 3. Unless there was no other choice or by chance, there is almost no one among the beasties who would foolishly acknowledge a master on their own accord, and towards humans who wanted to capture them and force them to form a contract. The beasties had always shared a common enemy. Therefore, although they did not have much of a friendship with that dolphin, but on account that everyone was beasties, it was still very willing to help him. Moreover, that dolphin had now acknowledged that little girl as its master, and that little girl had done its entire family a great favor. It naturally couldn't just stand by and watch. You're a foodie, you only know how to eat. Lung Ruoxue patted the Shadow Tiger King's head as she said this, pretending to be helpless. Then, she turned to Xiao Bing and said apologetically, I'm sorry, I've made a fool of myself. After that, she took out the fish that she had kept earlier and handed them to Grape for her to clean up. Lotus Seed took the initiative to relight the fire. Looking at the familiar-looking fish, Xiao Bing said, Miss Lung and the others are here to fish? Yup. After fishing for the whole morning, I only managed to catch a few. I want to take them home to eat, but who knew that this glutton beastie, couldn't hold back? Lung Ruoxue explained with a smile. Since she didn't leave, she wasn't in a hurry to leave, in case Xiao Bing noticed something. Hee. I've also heard that the fish in this cold pond are very delicious. Why don't I make some more, and we can roast them together? Xiao Bing said enthusiastically. After he finished speaking, he did not give Lung Ruoxue a chance to reject him. He used his divine power to form a 1-meter-wide fishing net and threw it into the water. Seeing this, Lung Ruoxue looked at Ning Yin and transmitted her voice. Sister Yin, am using a fishing net. So what? Fishing rods had their own fun. Furthermore, even if he uses a net, he might not be able to catch the fish. Otherwise, the fish here wouldn't be so difficult to catch. Ning Yin said disapprovingly. All right, you're right. Lung Ruoxue saw that Ning Yin was looking down on Xiao Bing's fishing net, so she tactfully stopped talking about it. After all, the result would be clear. After waiting for a while, when Xiao Bing lifted the net, there was not a single fish in sight. There were only a few stalks of seaweed in the huge net. Seeing this, Ning Yin was extremely pleased. Lung Ruoxue ignored Ning Yan's smugness and focused on roasting the fish in her hands. Xiao Bing, on the other hand, was unwilling to give up and cast the net again. Mr. Xiao Bing, you need a fishing rod to catch the fish here. Ning Yin reminded him kindly. A fishing net is fine too. I've fished it before. However, you have to be patient. Xiao Bing said calmly, his gaze fixed on Lung Ruoxue, who was concentrating on roasting the fish. Then I wish you success. Ning Yin ignored Xiao Bing and sat beside Lung Ruoxue after she finished speaking. After a long time, Xiao Bing pulled in the net for the umpteenth time and finally caught more than 10 fish. The net can really catch them. Ning Yin mumbled to herself as she looked at the dozen palm-sized fish. Of course you can, but you need to be patient, Xiao Bing said with a smile, then found a place to sit down. Lung Ruoxue passed Xiao Bing a fish. Xiao Bing didn't stand on ceremony. After saying his thanks, he started to gnaw on it elegantly. Everyone ate and chatted, and in just a short while, they became familiar with each other. Xiao Bing saw that the time was right, so he coughed lightly and slowly explained the reason. Hee. You must be very curious as to why I came out of the water, Xiao Bing said with a smile. Lung Ruoxue and Ning Yin looked at each other and nodded. However, neither of them continued the conversation. Xiao Bing didn't mind and continued talking. Actually, I'm chasing after a dolphin, Xiao Bing said, then continued. That dolphin used to be a guard of the God Lord's estate. Because he made a mistake, he was punished by the God Lord. He was not willing to be punished, so he injured the guard who was watching him and escaped from the God Lord's estate. I was ordered to hunt him down. I chased him to the endless ocean, and he used his familiarity with the sea to escape from a sea eye in the endless ocean. I followed the sea eye and came here. If you know where he is, tell me, and the Divine Master will definitely reward you. Xiao Bing continued. You are from the Divine Master's estate. Ning Yin pretended to be surprised, and her expression turned into one of admiration. As for Xiao Bing's question, she ignored it. Did you guys see a dolphin appear here? If you do, please tell me where he is. The God Lord's estate will definitely not mistreat you. Xiao Bing repeated with a nod. I'm sorry, we didn't see any dolphins, but you can tell us what he looks like. We'll definitely let you know when we find his tracks. Ning Yin said very seriously. Sister Yin is right. Tell us what the dolphin looks like. We'll inform you as soon as we know where it is. Lung Ruoxu chimed in as well, her beautiful face filled with anticipation. Even though the dolphin's story was different from Xiao Bing's, she still chose to believe it. Other than the fact that the dolphin was already her beastie, the main reason was that Xiao Bing's story was full of loopholes. He had said that the dolphin was a guard of the Divine Lord's estate. However, the dolphin was right in front of him, and he had not recognized it. How could he have the nerve to say that the dolphin was a guard of the Divine Lord's estate? Wasn't this making others laugh their heads off? However, she didn't expect Ning Yin to be so good at acting, which was a little beyond her expectations. You guys really didn't see it? Xiao Bing couldn't quite believe it, because in his opinion, the dolphin's speed shouldn't be much faster than his. If these people have been fishing here all this time, how could they not have seen the dolphin? And Lung Ruoxue and the rest nodded. Haven't you been here the whole morning? Xiao Bing asked a question in his heart. Yup. However, we didn't stay by the pond all the time, so Lung Ruoxue stopped halfway through her sentence and decided to let Xiao Bing make his own guess. I see. Although Xiao Bing was still suspicious of Lung Ruoxue's words, he thought about it carefully. These women didn't seem like people who had the patience to stay still and fish. When he thought about this, he put down the doubts in his heart. After Lung Ruoxue and the rest finished their fish, they planned to leave. However, Xiao Bing did not leave just like that. Instead, he wanted to follow them. In his own words, he was not very familiar with the Ning clan's divine realm, and it would be good to have company if he went with them. His thoughts made Lung Ruoxue and the rest suffer in silence. If it wasn't for the dolphin, Lung Ruoxue would have told him directly that she didn't like to hang out with strangers. However, she couldn't say it out loud now, who asked the other party to not dispel their suspicions. Chapter 1554. The Smiling Celestial Emperor 4. Sister Yin. What do we do now? Lung Ruoxue sent a message to Ning Yin. Sister Ruoxue, why don't you bring him to the Ning family? With Dad around, Xiao Bing won't be able to do anything. Ning Yin said after some thought. Sister Yin, Xiao Bing is from the Divine Master's estate. It's not good to drag the Ning family into this. Lung Ruoxue didn't agree with Ning Yin's opinion. In her eyes, Xiao Bing was definitely not a friend. Once Xiao Bing found out that the dolphin she was looking for had already recognized her as its master, he would probably fly into a rage out of humiliation. Now, she obviously didn't want the Ning family to have any conflict with the Divine Master's estate. Then what do we do? Ning Yin was in a dilemma. She didn't want the Ning family and the Divine Master's estate to fight each other. Sister Yin, how about we split up? Take the grapes, lotus seeds, and the dolphin back to the Ning family first. Also, help me tell Godfather that I have something to do and will be back late. It'll take Xiao Bing, Tiger King, and his wife to take another route. After shaking him off, he'll go back to the Ning family. Lung Ruoxue thought for a moment. This should be the best solution she could think of. No, that Xiao Bing might look decent, but he was actually very sinister. How can I let you leave with him? Besides, it's hard to say whether he'll follow you or not. He's not someone who'll be manipulated by others. Ning Yin objected. Sister Yin, there's no other way. I don't want to drag the Ning family into this. Take Grape and leave. I have my ways to deal with this Xiao Bing. Lung Ruoxue consoled. Little sister Ruoxue, do you think that we are holding you back? Ning Yin said aggrievedly, feeling very unwilling in her heart. Sister Yin, it's good that you know. Lung Ruoxue had no choice but to follow Ning Yan's lead. Little sister Ruoxue, I'm sad. Ning Yan's resentful eyes followed Lung Ruoxue. She thought to herself, Sister Ruoxue is too honest. Even if she really had such thoughts, she shouldn't have said it out loud. Sister Yin, you should know that I have no choice. If I bring Xiao Bing to the Ning family and something happens, the Ning family won't be able to hold him back. Lung Ruoxue tried to persuade him. Actually, the Ning family might not be afraid of Xiao Bing, but the Divine Master's estate that Xiao Bing represented was very troublesome. Now was not the time to start a conflict with the Divine Master's estate. In short, the time was not right. All right then. However, your maidservant and that dolphin may not leave with me. Ning Yin compromised. I'll tell them. After Lung Ruoxue was done speaking, she sent voice transmissions to Grape, Lotus Seed, and Dolphin. Although they were unwilling, after Lung Ruoxue emphasized that they would drag her down, the three of them kept quiet. After settling their matters, Lung Ruoxue said to Xiao Bing, Mr. Xiao Bing, my sister has something else to do, so we'll have to split up for a while. Which way do you plan to go? Not far from the Frost Lake, there were 2 roads leading to the other side. When Lung Ruoxue said this, she wasn't sure if Xiao Bing would go with her, so she decided to let Xiao Bing choose first. In any case, she had already made up her mind. Whichever road Xiao Bing took, she would follow. She didn't believe that Xiao Bing would have any way to follow them. Miss Lung, which path do you plan to take? Xiao Bing asked instead of answering. I'm planning to take the left path to the Nightless City. Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. What is Miss Lung going to the Nightless City for? Xiao Bing's face was full of question marks. Look at the fireflies. I heard that the fireflies in the Nightless City are at their most beautiful right now. I want to see them. Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. What about this Miss Lung? He pointed at Ning Yin and asked. Younger sister is going to the Nightless City, so I naturally have to go to the Ning family's divine realm to handle some matters. Ning Yin said matter-of-factly. I wonder what Miss Lung is going to do in the Ning family's divine realm. Xiao Bing asked again. Mr. Xiao Bing, do I need to report to you what I'm going to do in the Ning family's god realm? What I'm going to do is naturally a family matter, which is also a secret of our family. Please forgive me for not being able to disclose it. Ning Yan's face turned serious, and she said angrily, Miss Lung, you've misunderstood me. I'm just a little curious. Please forgive my rudeness. Xiao Bing's attitude was very good, and he was not annoyed by Ning Yan's words. It's okay. I know this is an occupational disease of the Divine Lord's residence. Ning Yan was also very generous, but her words made Xiao Bing a little unhappy. Sister, didn't you have something to do? Let's go quickly. Don't delay the important things. Without giving Xiao Bing a chance to react, Lung Ruoxue urged him on. And Ning Yan nodded and summoned Crane, then flew towards the Ning family's divine realm with Grape and the other 2. The moment they left, only Lung Ruoxue, Xiao Bing, and the 2 tigers were left. After Ning Yan and the rest had disappeared, Lung Ruoxue turned to Xiao Bing and said, Mr. Xiao Bing, where do you plan to go? I'll go with you to the Nightless City to see fireflies. Xiao Bing said with a smile. Good, then let's go. After Lung Ruoxue finished speaking, she walked towards the road leading to the Nightless City. As he walked, he transmitted his voice to the fellow in the beastie dimension. Why did you come back? Don't you know that Xiao Bing is looking for you? Lung Ruoxue's head was hurting. She had finally let Ning Yin take him away, but who knew that this dolphin would sneak back and enter her beast dimension without a sound? I'm worried about Master. Of course, I have to stay by Master's side to protect you. Dolphin said in an aggrieved voice. Protect me? It's already good enough that you didn't come back and add to my troubles. It was clear that Lung Ruoxue didn't think highly of him, and this hurt the pretty dolphin man's self-esteem. Master, I'm very strong. Dolphin reminded. Yup, he's so strong that he's being chased around and hiding. Lung Ruoxue used her divine sense to look at the small dolphin that was standing tall in the beast dimension. He's stronger than me. If I don't run, I'll be caught by him. The dolphin's face was full of resentment. It didn't want to become a slave to humans. Of course, the owner it found was an exception. If you're afraid of being caught, then you'd better behave. Your master, am weak and can't protect you. Lung Ruoxue reminded. I just want to stay by Master's side obediently. I want drag Master down. Dolphin promised. That's good. After Lung Ruoxue finished speaking, she cut off the connection with the dolphin. That was because Xiao Bing was talking to her. Lung Ruoxue lifted her beautiful eyes and said in embarrassment, What did Sir Xiao Bing just say? I was a little distracted and didn't hear you clearly. I'm asking if Miss Lung is planning to go to the Nightless City by foot. Xiao Bing chuckled. Yup. Lung Ruoxue nodded her head and thought, You better not want to leave. This way they could part ways. God knew how much she didn't want to pretend to be nice to Xiao Bing. Chapter 1555. The Smiling Celestial Emperor 5. Miss Lung doesn't have a flying beast? Xiao Bing asked again. There is. However, my flying beast is in closed-door cultivation, so I can only trouble my 2 legs. Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. She was speaking the truth, because his flying beastie was indeed in seclusion. I see, then use mine. Otherwise, I don't know when we'll be able to reach Nightless City. Xiao Bing didn't doubt him this time, but suggested. I'm sorry, I'm sick of flying beasts. Lung Ruoxue's beautiful face was filled with apology. Her words made Xiao Bing a little angry. In his entire life, he had never heard of cultivators who could make their flying beasts unconscious. Hence, he did not believe Lung Ruoxue's words at all. However, since Lung Ruoxue had already said so, he could not possibly force her to sit on his flying beast. Although he really wanted to do that, he did not want to ruin his relationship with Lung Ruoxue. However, he was also feeling rather depressed. After all, he was still a divine emperor. He also had the God Lord's estate as his backing. He had never received such treatment before. However, even though he was angry, as he looked at Lung Ruoxue's beautiful face, he could not vent his anger no matter how much he wanted to. Her beauty was misleading. Following that, Xiao Bing walked side by side with Lung Ruoxue without saying a word. The Dark Tiger King and his wife followed behind them. In the evening, Lung Ruoxue saw that the sky was already dark and suggested that they find a place to camp. Although Xiao Bing was depressed, he did not object. However, he did not know when they would reach Nightless City at their current speed. Lung Ruoxue didn't care what Xiao Bing was thinking. In any case, she was going to rest, stop, eat, and sleep. After finding an empty space, Lung Ruoxue set up her tent and had a simple meal before going to sleep in her tent. Xiao Bing, on the other hand, was sitting by the fire, deep in thought. He didn't know what had happened to him. Even if he was suspicious of Lung Ruoxue, there was no need for him to follow her around like a fool, right? And if he really wanted to find out something, wouldn't it be better to just bring her to the Divine Master's estate? Why go through so much trouble? He couldn't explain his abnormal behavior. Even though he had a good impression of Lung Ruoxue, he didn't think that he was someone who had the patience to coax women. So what was he doing now? Xiao Bing was in a dilemma the entire night, while Lung Ruoxue had already entered the bracelet and had a good sleep. The next day, the two of them continued on their journey. The Tiger King couple had entered the house yesterday, but they were not released today. Little girl, please let me out. The Dark Tiger King kept on transmitting his voice to Lung Ruoxue. It was so noisy that Lung Ruoxue could not stand it anymore. She directly blocked off the house from the outside world before her heart finally calmed down. Just like that, Lung Ruoxue and Xiao Bing walked slowly. After close to 10 days, They finally arrived at the nightless city. When they entered the nightless city, it was daytime, and there were very few pedestrians in the city. However, there were two extremely ugly old men who were particularly eye-catching because they were like ants on a hot pan, constantly walking back and forth at the city gate. "My good daughter, you've finally come. Your father has been waiting for you for many days." A tall and ugly old man gave Lung Ruoxue a bear hug the moment he saw her. He pulled Lung Ruoxue into his arms and said with tears flowing down his face, "My good granddaughter, Grandpa has missed you so much." The other old man pulled Lung Ruoxue out of the arms of the old man who claimed to be her father and said with tears in his eyes. When the two of them saw Lung Ruoxue, they were extremely excited. Lung Ruoxue was only stunned for a moment before she called out sweetly, "Grandpa, Father, why are you guys here?" These two people were none other than the master of the Ning family and the first elder of the Craftsmen's Guild who had taken the disguise pill. "We missed you," the two of them said in unison. Then, the master of the Ning family explained, "I heard from your sister that you're going to Nightless City to see fireflies. We're worried, so we followed you to see." "Oh, big sister is home already?" Lung Ruoxue asked on purpose. "We're home. Your sister's business is all done. But you, why are you so slow?" The master of the Ning family asked. "I'm sick of flying beasts, so we walked here. This is already considered fast." Lung Ruoxue said with a smile, but she was a little depressed in her heart. After nearly 10 days, she still couldn't get rid of this guy. She was really a failure. Even though she had thought of entering the bracelet and never coming out, she was afraid that Xiao Bing would become even more suspicious. After all, Xiao Bing was keeping a close eye on her. If she went missing for no reason, it would only make him more suspicious. So, she could only swallow her anger and follow Xiao Bing on the journey. Fortunately, Xiao Bing had been well-behaved along the way. Otherwise, she would not mind making him the first eunuch in the Divine Master's estate. "Ai, my poor child, you must be exhausted," the master of the Ning family said with heartache. His goddaughter had really put in a lot of effort to get rid of that Xiao Bing. However, it did not seem to have any effect, because he had already felt a probing gaze. "It's all right. It's all thanks to Sir Xiao Bing's care along the way." Lung Ruoxue had not forgotten about Xiao Bing's existence. After hearing Lung Ruoxue's words, Xiao Bing smiled apologetically and said, "Miss Lung is too polite. This is what I should do." "How is this what you should do? Don't talk nonsense. My daughter is not married yet. If you can't get married, you'll have to take responsibility," the master of the Ning family said unhappily. He was really angered by Xiao Bing's words. As his father, he couldn't stand any young man saying that it was his duty to take care of his daughter. Wasn't that clearly trying to snatch his daughter away from him? This was preposterous. If Miss Lung really can't get married because of this, I'm willing to take responsibility. Xiao Bing seized the opportunity and said rudely, "You wish." The master of the Ning family was even angrier. He really didn't expect Xiao Bing to be so thick-skinned, but now that he thought about it, it seemed that his words were a little inappropriate, but words that had been said were like water that had been spilled. Even if he wanted to take them back, he couldn't, so he could only sulk alone. When Lung Ruoxue heard their conversation, the black lines on her forehead immediately slid down. Although she was a little angry, she was smart enough not to interrupt. Otherwise, it would only make things worse. In fact, Xiao Bing had his own reasons for saying that. He had been looking at the two old men for a long time, but he couldn't tell what their cultivation levels were. He couldn't help but feel puzzled, and there were only two possibilities if he couldn't tell. One was that they had equipment that could hide their cultivation levels, and the other was that their cultivation levels were higher than his. He would rather not be able to see through the cultivation base of the two old men because they had equipment that could hide their cultivation base than to see their cultivation base above his. He was already an immortal emperor. If their cultivation base was higher than his, it was self-evident what kind of strength they had. Therefore, he spared no effort in saying such ambiguous words to test their cultivation base. Chapter 1556. Shifting the source of trouble to the east. 1. However, the other party didn't seem to be fooled. Other than being a little angry, there was no other reaction. Thinking of this, he could only continue to add fire. I'm serious. I'm already a divine emperor. I should be worthy of Miss Lung. Xiao Bing said confidently, who knew that the master of the Ning family would just look at Xiao Bing indifferently, then turn to Lung Ruoxue and say, Shuer, let's go and ignore this lunatic. This time, he couldn't even be bothered to be angry. He had lived for so long. If he couldn't even see through this little trick of the other party, then wouldn't he have lived in vain? Right, my good granddaughter. Let's go, the first elder said. Then, the two of them escorted Lung Ruoxue and headed towards the inn they had booked. Seeing this, Xiao Bing wasn't angry, but followed behind the three of them. In short, it wasn't easy to get rid of him. After entering the inn, Master Ning and First Elder pulled Lung Ruoxue into a room. Then, they glared at Lung Ruoxue with anger. No one spoke first. When Lung Ruoxue saw their expressions, she could only put on an obedient look and let them stare at her. However, she would occasionally show her grievances. Finally, the master of the Ning family couldn't bear it anymore. The corner of his mouth twitched, and he said in an unpleasant tone, You're actually feeling wronged. Damn girl, do you know how impetuous you were? If Xiao Bing really had bad intentions towards you, we wouldn't even be able to see you now. Ugh, what he meant was that Xiao Bing might have taken Shui somewhere. That brat had ill intentions towards Shui from the start. However, it's a good thing he hasn't done anything yet. The first elder added fuel to the fire. From his tone, one could hear a trace of dissatisfaction towards Lung Ruoxue. Godfather, Grandpa, I know you're worried about me, but I know what I'm doing. Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. She had many ways to escape, but she would not use them unless she had no other choice. She knew that Godfather and First Elder would be worried about her because of this, but now was not the time to reveal her trump card. After all, one had to have some secrets. Wretched girl, what did you call him? Suddenly, the master of the Ning family pointed at the great elder and questioned him angrily. Grandpa, what's wrong? Lung Ruoxue was at a complete loss. Her godfather seemed to be even angrier. That's right. What's wrong with Shuer calling me grandfather? The great elder chuckled provocatively, but he couldn't help but wonder if he should thank that Xiao Bing. If it wasn't for Shuer wanting to get rid of him, he wouldn't have had the chance to be his grandfather. Shuer, you're not allowed to call him grandfather, the master of the Ning family ordered. At this moment, his mind was filled with the word grandfather from Lung Ruoxue's mouth. How could he still be bothered about what had happened before? On what basis? You were the one who agreed for me to appear as Shuer's grandfather. Without waiting for Lung Ruoxue's reaction, First Elder roared in dissatisfaction. This damned old man was clearly burning the bridge after crossing the river. They had a good deal at home. One was a godfather, and the other was a grandfather. However, now that he had found Shuer, he actually turned his back on her. How preposterous. This definitely can't happen. I didn't say you're not allowed to be Shuer's grandfather. I just don't allow Shuer to call you grandfather. The master of the Ning family emphasized that this stinky old man calling himself grandfather and Shuer calling him were two completely different things. So, in order to protect his own interests, he would never allow this to happen. Is there a difference? The great elder was confused. There's a big difference, the master of the Ning family said fiercely. As Lung Ruoxue listened to their conversation, the black lines on her forehead slid down uncontrollably. She couldn't help but sigh in her heart. Her godfather and the great elder had actually forgotten to continue scolding her just because of the matter of how they addressed her. But this was good too. She could finally catch her breath. However, things were not as good as Lung Ruoxue had thought. Master Ning and the great elder argued for a while before he turned his attention back to Lung Ruoxue and continued to ramble on and on. After a long time, Lung Ruoxue was about to fall asleep from the scolding, and Master Ning finally stopped. The parched master of the Ning family and the great elder, who had been fanning the flames, picked up the teacups on the table and drank it all in one gulp. Then, the two of them stared at Lung Ruoxue, eyes wide open. From their long talk, Lung Roashua knew that Ning Yin had already brought the grapes and lotus seeds back to the Ning family. When they heard that she was with Xiao Bing, her godfather and great elder rushed over immediately. They stayed in the nightless city for almost 10 days because they did not expect Lung Roashua to arrive so slowly. These days, they had been worried that Lung Roashua would be bullied and be hurt. Now that they saw her, they were all worried. Naturally, they wanted to vent out all the dissatisfaction in their hearts. Hence, Lung Roashua, who knew she was in the wrong, did not stop them. "Godfather, how's the family competition?" Lung Roashua let out a soft sigh and changed the topic. The middle stage of the competition should have ended by now, but she didn't see it. All of this was caused by that annoying fellow, Xiaobing. So, Lung Roashua couldn't help but feel a trace of resentment towards him from the bottom of her heart. Ning Shan and Ning Hai, those two little guys have performed well. They've already entered the final stage of the competition. If we can hurry back as soon as possible, we should be able to see the final match. The master of the Ning family knew what Shui wanted to ask, so he didn't keep her in suspense and told her directly. In fact, after Shui's accident, he had originally wanted to postpone the family competition, but considering that it had already been suspended once, he did not do so this time. Otherwise, the Ning family's clansmen would be overthinking things again. "That's good." Lung Roashua nodded. "My good granddaughter, how do you plan to get rid of Xiao Bing? It seems like Xiao Bing is planning to pester you." At this time, the first elder asked worriedly and even deliberately emphasized the words "good granddaughter." His eyes also faintly floated to the master of the Ning family. Old man Ning had agreed to this, so of course he had to call out to his heart's content. "I don't know. I've tried a lot along the way, and I've also hinted that he'll go home after seeing the fireflies, but he ignored me." Lung Roashua felt a headache coming on. From the beginning to the end, Xiao Bing had never believed her and had even been testing her, trying to find out more about her. So, she really didn't know how to deal with Xiao Bing, who was like a sticky candy. "Shui, if it really doesn't work, we'll just cut him off." The master of the Ning family made a gesture of cutting his throat and said with a ruthless face, "Godfather, if we kill Xiao Bing, we'll have offended the Divine Master's estate, and we'll probably have to face them head-on." Lung Roashua asked worriedly. To the Divine World, the God Lord's estate was a colossal existence. If the Ning family was the king of the Divine World, then the God Lord's estate would be the emperor of the entire Divine World. Furthermore, there would definitely be countless experts in the God Lord's estate. Therefore, the God Lord's estate was not something that she could afford to provoke at the moment. Even the Ning family's chances of winning against the God Lord's estate were not high. Hence, she did not approve of a conflict with the God Lord's estate now. Chapter 1557. Shifting the disaster to the east too. Shui, the immortal realm is huge, and if Xiao Bing dies, it won't be too soon for them to trace it back to us. However, if we really want to kill him, we have to be fully prepared. First Elder said, after some thought, "Godfather, Great Elder, Nightless City is too close to the Ning family's divine realm. If something happens to Xiao Bing here, not only will the city lord not be able to escape, but the Divine Lord's estate will also target the Ning family's divine realm. Although the Divine Lord's estate won't have any evidence that we killed Xiao Bing, it's not a good thing to be targeted by them." Lung Roashua analyzed. She wasn't a saint who would think for others in everything, but she didn't want to implicate the people of Nightless City. More importantly, Nightless City was attached to the Ning family's divine realm. If something really happened to the people of the God Lord's estate in Nightless City, the Ning family's divine realm wouldn't be able to get away with it. "I really can we'll just divert the disaster." The master of the Ning family laughed evilly, his face sinister. "Old man, where are you trying to draw the trouble?" The Grand Elder asked curiously. "How's the Yao clan?" Master Ning said with a smile, "I think it's fine." The First Elder nodded seriously with a gloating expression. Lung Roashua looked at how excited her godfather and Great Elder were, and could not bear to dampen their spirits. However, she could not help but pity the Yao family. Poor Yao family. Why are you so tired of Godfather's eyes? In fact, she was also clear that although the relationship between the 8 great divine regions seemed to be close, in reality, there were many contradictions in the light and in the dark. Things like dragging each other down happened from time to time. Moreover, the Yao family, as the second largest family, had always been envious of the Ning family and had secretly caused trouble for them. At the same time, the Yao family was also the biggest thorn in the Ning family's side. Hence, it was only natural that Godfather wanted to lure Xiao Bing to the Yao family's territory. However, he did not know if Xiao Bing would fall for it. Then it's decided, tomorrow, we'll go to the Yao family's divine territory for a stroll. Master Ning couldn't hide the pride on his face, and he was even more narcissistic in his heart. How could he be so smart? He really admired himself. Godfather, how far is the Yao family's god domain from here? Lung Ruoxue could not help but ask. If we're fast, we'll be there in 5 days. Master Ning's face revealed a wretched smile, and he was also a little excited in his heart. He had wanted to deal with that old thing in the Yao family for a long time. Today, he finally found an opportunity to add some trouble to the Yao family. He believed that after this matter was done, the Yao family would not be able to rest for a while. 5 days? Then wouldn't the round trip take 10 days? Would we still be able to make it in time for the clan competition? Lung Ruoxue asked. Don't worry. The final stage of the competition would take at least half a month. This doesn't even include the rest time in between, so we have enough time. The master of the Ning family frowned and calculated before saying, But I told Xiao Bing that flying beasts would faint. We can't just walk to the Yao family's divine realm. Lung Ruoxue's beautiful face was filled with innocence. She blinked her beautiful eyes and stared at the 2 old men in front of her. If we were to walk, it would probably take at least half a year to get there. The master of the Ning family said seriously, Damn old man, now is not the time for you to joke. When the great elder heard the Ning family master's words, he glared at him unhappily, then said, It's just making flying beasts dizzy. This was not a big deal. If Xiao Bing asks, you could just say that you ate a beast stun pill. Animal knockout powder? There's such a thing? Lung Ruoxue had a look of surprise on her face. She had heard of medicine for motion sickness and seasickness, but this was the first time she had heard of medicine for bee sickness. Of course not. However, you can just make up something to fool him. The first elder disapprovingly said, all right. Lung Ruoxue wiped away the cold sweat on her forehead and agreed. We'll head to the Yao clan's divine domain tomorrow morning. Have a good rest. The master of the Ning family made the final decision, and then he said, Shue, girl, take out your house. Let's go in and sleep. It's going to be very noisy outside. And Lung Ruoxue nodded. She then took out the house and placed it in the spacious living room. The living room was very large. It seemed that his godfather had already prepared it. After taking out the house, the master of the Ning family and the great elder walked straight in. As for Lung Ruoxue, she was lying on the bed in the inn. When night fell, Lung Ruoxue left the room on purpose to put on a good show. She planned to go see the fireflies, and, as expected, she saw Xiao Bing waiting for her. Miss Lung, did you sleep well? Outside the room, Xiao Bing, who was leaning against the corridor wall, greeted Lung Ruoxue with a faint smile. Not good. I don't like the bed. Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. She then continued, Mr. Xiao Bing, father and grandfather are bringing me home tomorrow. Oh, may I know where Miss Lung's home is? Perhaps we can go the same way. Xiao Bing said with a smile. After hearing Xiao Bing's words, Lung Ruoxue was extremely depressed. How could Xiao Bing be so thick-skinned? Lung Ruoxue had already said that she was going home, yet she still wanted to go the same way as her. However, this was also within her expectations, so Lung Ruoxue only grumbled in her heart. She then chuckled and said, My home is in the Yao family's god domain. May I know what is the relationship between Miss Lung and the Yao family? Xiao Bing asked as he searched for the news of the smaller clans in the Yao clan's divine realm, but to no avail. I have nothing to do with the Yao family. We're just living in the Yao family's divine realm. Lung Ruoxu's lips curled into a smile as she replied indifferently. Oh, Xiao Bing replied softly. After saying that, he felt a little frustrated. There were many small and medium-sized clans in the Yao clan's divine realm, but Lung Ruoxu said that they had nothing to do with the Yao clan. Was this possible? The families in the Yao family's divine realm were basically dependent on the Yao family for survival. Otherwise, the Yao family wouldn't have allowed you to live in the Yao family's divine realm. Hence, his intuition told him that Lung Ruoxu was lying to him again. I know what Sir Xiao Bing is thinking, but my family only has my grandfather, father, and sister. The Yao family won't like us, and we're only temporarily staying in the Yao family's divine realm. Once we have a fixed place to stay, we'll leave that place. Lung Ruoxu, who had seen through Xiao Bing's thoughts, explained with a forced smile. After hearing Lung Ruoxu's words, the doubts in Xiao Bing's heart were slightly relieved. However, he did not completely believe Lung Ruoxu's words, because his intuition told him that the three of them had a secret. Miss Lung, I'm also going to the Yao clan's divine realm. Let's go together tomorrow. After a moment of silence, Xiao Bing finally spoke. Actually, he did not have to follow Lung Ruoxu and the other two, but he was too suspicious. He felt that Lung Ruoxu was a mystery, so the more confused he was, the more he wanted to find out. All right, Lung Ruoxu nodded, then turned around and went downstairs. Xiao Bing naturally followed. Chapter 1558, Shifting the Disaster to the East, 3. Their room was on the second floor. The first floor was the hotel lobby and the dining room. After Lung Ruoxu went downstairs, she went to the dining room to have something to eat before leaving the hotel. Xiao Bing followed by her side. As she walked on the streets of the nightless city and looked at the people walking to and fro, she thought about the time bomb that was following her. No matter what, Lung Ruoxu couldn't bring herself to be happy. However, it was a good thing that Xiao Bing didn't talk much. Otherwise, she would be even more depressed. After a long time, Lung Ruoxu felt that it was about time. Sir Xiao Bing, it's getting late. We still have to head to the Yao clan's divine domain tomorrow. Why don't we return to the inn earlier to rest? Lung Ruoxu chuckled as she reminded him. And Xiao Bing nodded. The reason why he followed them out was to keep an eye on Lung Ruoxu. Since Lung Ruoxu was going back, there was no reason for him to continue loitering around on the streets. After returning to the inn, Lung Ruoxu greeted Xiao Bing and returned to her room. She only heaved a sigh of relief when she entered her room. Acting was quite tiring, especially when the opponent was a difficult character. The next morning, after Lung Ruoxu and her two grandparents had their breakfast, they planned to head to the Yao clan's divine realm. Standing at the door of the inn, the master of the Ning family looked at Xiao Bing and said with a smirk, "Mr. Xiao Bing, can I borrow your flying beast?" When our flying beast came here, they flew too fast and got tired. In fact, he was afraid that Xiao Bing would recognize him if he took out his flying beast. So he had no choice but to target Xiao Bing, who asked that guy to stick to them. I can. Xiao Bing had no choice but to summon his flying beast. His flying beast was a huge flying bear. It was almost 3 meters tall, and its entire body was yellow in color. It was a level 8 Saint God beast, and had a pair of golden wings that were slightly thinner than the flying bear. When Lung Ruoxu saw the flying bear, she almost laughed out loud. This was because it was a pair of wings on a bear's body. No matter how she looked at it, it was comical. Furthermore, she was very suspicious. With a bear's weight, could even fly? Don't worry. Feifei's flying speed is very fast and very stable. Seeing through Lung Ruoxu's thoughts, Xiao Bing said with a helpless expression, "Are you sure it won't fall from the sky?" Not only did Xiao Bing's words not make Lung Ruoxu feel at ease, she even asked him directly. "I definitely want to." Xiao Bing looked helpless and did not know what to say. "Beauty, it'll make you comfortable. Don't worry." The giant bear, Feifei, saw that Lung Ruoxu did not trust it, so it promised her. However, It was fine if it did not say anything, but once it did, it would shock everyone with its words. When Lung Ruoxue heard Fei Fei's words, black lines appeared on her forehead. She thought to herself, could it be that one is marked by one's proximity to vermilion and one is marked by one's proximity to ink? Did it learn from its master to say such fantasizing words? At the thought of this, Lung Ruoxue's beautiful eyes could not help but drift toward Xiaobing. Her probing and suspicious gaze made Xiaobing's face turn red, as if it was on fire. Fei Fei means that itll be very comfortable to sit on it. Don't misunderstand. Xiaobing quickly explained, but after he said that, he felt that something was wrong, but he couldn't put his finger on it. Oh, Lung Ruoxue deliberately dragged her words and looked at Xiaobing with a half-smile, then at the giant bear who seemed to be embarrassed. She came to an important conclusion: a beast takes after its master. A crooked upper beam will have a crooked lower beam. It's late. Let's get on our way, Xiaobing said awkwardly. Then, he recalled that Lung Ruoxue had mentioned that she would be fazed by beasts. He looked at Lung Ruoxue worriedly and said, Miss Lung, what are you going to do? What's wrong? Fei Fei asked curiously. Fei Fei, young Lady Lung can make flying beasts faint, Xiaobing explained to his pet. Oh, then it'll fly slower. Fei Fei looked at Lung Ruoxue with sympathy. Poor little beauty. Why would she faint on a flying beast? No need. I've already taken a beast vertigo pill, Lung Ruoxue said. She was secretly glad that she was prepared. Otherwise, she really didn't know how to deal with this. Beast vertigo pill? What's that? Xiaobing's face was filled with confusion and big question marks. His pair of black and bright eyes were staring at Lung Ruoxue without blinking, as if he was saying, open my eyes. This is it. If Sir Xiaobing is interested, you could try one. Lung Ruoxue took out a black pill from her bracelet and handed it to Xiaobing. Xiaobing took the pill and sniffed it. He was surprised to find that the pill was stinky. Although the smell was not obvious, he could not pretend that he could not smell it. This is the beast vertigo pill? Why is it stinky? Xiaobing's handsome face was filled with disbelief, but he knew how to ask shamelessly. It's stinky. Once you eat it, you won't have the mood to think about other things. That's why it's effective against fainting beasts. Lung Ruoxue's mind was spinning as she made up a story. Actually, that wasn't a beast vertigo pill. That pill was a stinky pill that she usually used to prank people. The reason why she had taken it out to fool people was because she knew that even an alchemist who was proficient in alchemy would not know what a stinky pill was. In the immortal realm, there was no one who really suffered from beast phobia, so even if Xiaobing wanted to find someone to test the pill on, he would not be able to find anything. Of course, there would still be a stench, and it would not be removed in a short period of time. Sir Xiaobing, do you want to compensate me? Lung Ruoxue laughed evilly. No need. I don't have beast phobia. Xiaobing said hurriedly. He did not dare to eat anything carelessly. What if something really happened? Moreover, the pill's stench was somewhat unacceptable to him. What a pity! Lung Ruoxue felt a little regretful. Let's go, Xiaobing said as he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Lung Ruoxue and the other two nodded and sat on Fei Fei's back. The fur on Fei Fei's back was very thick. It was indeed very comfortable to sit on, as it had said. However, Fei Fei was clearly a chatterbox. After it took off, its mouth did not stop. Furthermore, it kept calling Lung Ruoxue beauty. Lung Ruoxue was both angry and amused when she heard it. However, she could not be too calculative with a big, stupid bear, so she could only pretend that she had not heard it. Beauty, why are you ignoring me? Seeing that it was being ignored by Lung Ruoxue, Fei Fei turned its head around and said with a face full of hidden bitterness, Focus on flying. Be careful, you might hit the tree. Lung Ruoxue reminded. The trees in the immortal realm were all tall and straight, and many of them even shot up into the sky. Hence, if one was not careful while flying, it was possible that one would crash into a tree. Who knew that just as she finished speaking, she heard a bang, followed by a violent shaking. Then a few leaves fell on Lung Ruoxue's body. Chapter 1559. shifting the disaster to the east. 4. Fei Fei really did crash into a tree. Lung Roashu almost laughed out loud when she saw the big bright bump on its head. Was she a jinx? Fei Fei, who had crashed into a huge tree, endured the pain and steadied its body. Then, it continued to look at Lung Roashue with a face full of resentment and slowly said in a wrong tone, "Beauty, you have to compensate me. What does it have to do with me? I'm not the one who bumped into you. You can go ask it for compensation." Lung Roashua pointed at a giant tree not far away. "It's not a beauty. Besides, I bumped into the tree because I turned around to talk to you. That's why you should make it up to me." Although Fei Fei was a bear, it was quite smart. It naturally knew that if something happened, it had to find the culprit. "Did I ask you to turn around and talk to me?" Lung Roashua was bewildered. "No, I didn't," Fei Fei whispered. "Since that's the case, you could just ask it for compensation." Lung Roashua reminded. "But I just want you to compensate me," Fei Fei said shamelessly. "Every injustice has its perpetrator. Every debt has its debtor. You could go look for whoever hit you." Lung Roashua rolled her eyes at Fei Fei. After she finished speaking, she turned around and did not look at it anymore. Fei Fei glared at Lung Roashua for a long while. Seeing that Lung Roashua had no reaction and its master looked like he was waiting for a good show, it sighed and resigned itself to its fate. This time, it finally closed its mouth. Actually, it was not that it did not want to talk anymore, but no one would bother with it, even if it did. Sob. It was a bear that was despised by others. After 5 days of traveling, Lung Roashua and the rest finally reached the Yao clan's divine territory. Although the Yao family's god domain was ranked second among the 8 god domains, its size was not any smaller than the Ning family's god domain. In recent years, it even showed signs of surpassing the Ning family's god domain. The biggest reason for this was the Yao family's competitive ancestor. Fei Fei carried Lung Roashua and the rest and landed outside a small border city that belonged to the Yao clan's divine territory. This city was located at the very edge of the Yao family's divine territory. As it was quite far from the main city, and there were very few people living in the city, it did not seem as luxurious as the other cities in the Yao family's divine territory. However, this city had a rather pleasant name, 100-Bird City. It was said that this 100-bird city had a long history in the divine world, and its age was uncountable. This name was also passed down from the ancient times and had been used until today. Even compared to the main city of the Yao family, this 100-bird city was an ancient city worthy of its name. However, the location of this 100-bird city was too remote, so it was not valued by the Yao family. Lung Roashua and the rest walked into the city on foot. As they walked along the streets of 100-bird City and looked at the antique-looking buildings, Master Ning couldn't help but exclaim, "This 100-bird city is indeed an ancient city. It has a strong cultural atmosphere. As an ancient city, there would naturally be unforgettable things." However, with outsiders present, he could only sigh and not comment. However, the Great Elder did not have his concern. So what? In the eyes of the Yao clan, this city is of no value. The first elder curled his lips and said in disdain, "AI, what a pity." The master of the Ning family looked regretful. He couldn't help but think to himself, why did such a valuable ancient city have to be in the Yao family's divine realm? Wasn't that a waste of God's gift? What's there to pity? This city is old. It's time to let it rest. The first elder sighed. When Lung Roashua heard their conversation, she naturally knew what they were thinking. Her godfather and great elder had lived for God knows how long, so it was only natural for them to have a deep impression of these things that existed in their memories. It was a pity that the divine world was not the world she was in her past life, so they knew the value of cultural relics. Furthermore, these things happened to belong to the Yao family, so they probably didn't care about it. Otherwise, why would they let this ancient city be so deserted? And this 100-bird city, compared to the other cities she had seen before, was indeed a little old, even not comparable to the Nightless City. AI, Schwer, let's go home. After the master of the Ning family sighed, he told everyone that he had asked his subordinates to buy a house, which happened to be located in the Hundred-Bird City. And Lung Ruashua nodded. Then, they followed the master of the Ning family to a house. This house was located in the northwest of Hundred-Bird City, less than 1,000 meters away from the city lord's mansion. It was in a very good location, and it faced south. Although it was just an ordinary house, the courtyard was full of flowers, looking particularly warm. After entering the courtyard, the master of the Ning family ordered someone to take Xiao Bing to the guest room, and they went back to their own rooms. After a simple rest, the master of the Ning family held a banquet to entertain Xiao Bing. During the banquet, Xiao Bing actually asked about Ning Yan's whereabouts, but he was simply pushed away by Lung Ruashua. For the next few days, Lung Ruashua also used cultivation as an excuse to hide in her room, avoiding Xiao Bing. Xiao Bing, who was staying in the guest courtyard, could not figure it out no matter how much he thought about it. Not only was he unable to see Lung Ruashua, but he could also not see her grandfather and father. Xiao Bing, who was bored to death, walked out of the courtyard and was about to try looking for Lung Ruashua and the others. Suddenly, a golden bird descended from the sky and landed on his shoulder. It spoke in the human language. "Sir Xiao Bing, the Divine Master has ordered you to return to the Divine Master's estate immediately." After saying that, the golden bird turned into nothingness and disappeared without a trace. This little golden bird was the Divine Master's unique communication method. No matter where he was, as long as he was still alive, he could find him. Moreover, this method was only used by the Divine Master. Even if others wanted to imitate it, they wouldn't have the chance. However, he couldn't understand why the Divine Master would summon him back at this time. However, since the Divine Master had already given the order, he naturally did not dare to delay. Even though he was a little unwilling, he could only leave this place. As for that Lung Ruashua, he would find out more about her when he had the chance. Thinking of this, he strode towards the main courtyard. Xiao Bing was stopped by a man who claimed to be the butler as soon as he entered the main courtyard. "Mr. Xiao Bing, my lady is still cultivating," Ning Shan, who was disguised as the butler, said with a guarded expression. "I know. I want to see your master," Xiao Bing said helplessly. The butler was guarding against him as if he was a thief, and he really didn't know how he had offended him. "Is there anything I can help you with, Sir Xiao Bing?" "My master is taking an afternoon nap," Ning Shan said. "I'm here to bid farewell." Xiao Bing told the truth. What he didn't know was that his decision to leave had saved him from a fatal disaster. "Sir Xiao Bing is leaving?" Ning Shan was shocked. If Xiao Bing left, wouldn't their arrangements be in vain? The reason why they hadn't made a move for the past few days was to confuse Xiao Bing so that they wouldn't alert the enemy. However, now that the snake that they had set up was about to leave, their efforts would be in vain. Chapter 1560. The Mute Eats the Yellow Lotus 1. The God Lord's mansion has an important matter. The God Lord has ordered me to return as soon as possible. Xiao Bing explained. Actually, he didn't need to explain to a butler, but after spending these few days together, he knew very well that if he didn't make things clear, the butler would never let him see the master of the Lung family. Xiao Bing, could get whatever he wanted in the Divine Lord's manor, but now he had to listen to a butler. What was going on? In that case, I'll inform my master. Please wait a moment, Mr. Xiao Bing. After Ning Shan finished speaking, she unwillingly entered her master's room. In the room, hearing Ning Shan's words, the master of the Ning family had a serious and unwilling expression. When Lung Ruashua saw her godfather's expression, she chuckled and said, "Godfather, wasn't it good that he was leaving? Well, save a lot of trouble. Then we've come to the Yao family's divine realm for nothing. I've been setting it up for several days, but I didn't use it. I'm not satisfied," the master of the Ning family said in frustration. In fact, the reason he wanted to kill Xiao Bing was that he was too difficult to deal with. Other than that, he didn't do anything too much to swear her. However, if he could get rid of Xiao Bing and frame the Yao family, wouldn't that be perfect? Right now, he seemed to be more depressed that he couldn't frame the Yao family, and he didn't care about Xiao Bing's life or death. "Godfather, Are you not willing to let the Yao family live a carefree life? Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. And the master of the Ning family nodded without any courtesy. That's easy, Lung Ruoxue said with a smirk. Then, she whispered a few words into Master Ning's ear. In an instant, Master Ning revealed a wretched smile. Hee, Shui, you are indeed my goddaughter. Well, do as you say. Master Ning nodded with a smile. Shui's idea was great. He didn't have to kill Xiao Bing, but he could still frame the Yao family. Then, Godfather, please send Xiao Bing away, Lung Ruoxue urged. Good. He'll go see him now. Master Ning left the room in a hurry. First Elder and Ning Shan, who were left in the room, saw that the master of the Ning family was suddenly excited. They were also very curious. Their eyes were fixed on Lung Ruoxue, as if they wanted to get an answer from her. However, Lung Ruoxue kept them in suspense and told them that they would know in a while. After a while, the master of the Ning family sent Xiao Bing off and returned to his room. Then, he told Ning Shan about his arrangements. Then, Ning Shan left with a strange smile on her face. Late at night, Lung Ruoxue and the rest left the house that they had only stayed in for a few days. In the divine realm, although there was no written rule that flying beasts were not allowed when traveling through lands with owners, out of respect for the owners, everyone would tacitly agree to leave the city by walking or rent a beast carriage in the city. The act of riding a flying beast could also be regarded as a form of provocation to the owner. In the 8 great divine realms, almost all of the top forces had clearly stated that such behavior was prohibited. Therefore, Xiao Bing's behavior was very inappropriate. However, he was in a hurry to get back to the Divine Lord's estate, and he had the Divine Lord's support, so he naturally didn't care about this rule. Now that he was suddenly stopped, and the other party obviously didn't take his identity seriously, he couldn't help but feel a great sense of disappointment. The dissatisfaction in his heart grew, and his face gradually darkened. However, even so, it didn't have much of an effect on the man in black. I don't know what privileges the token of the Divine Master's estate has, the man in black said with a smile. I only know that you have violated the city rules of the Yao family. The leader of the men in black didn't give him any face, and this made Xiao Bing, who was already in a bad mood, even more furious. He squinted his eyes and glared at the men in black in front of him, and released a trace of pressure. However, the man in black in front of him didn't change his expression. Instead, he looked at Xiao Bing provocatively, as if to say, "Your pressure is useless against us." Xiao Bing was furious. He had never been a kind person. Previously, when he was with Lung Ruoxue and the others, he had concealed his true nature. Other than trying to figure out Lung Ruoxue's identity, it was also because Lung Ruoxue was a rare beauty. As a man, he would naturally have some tender and protective thoughts towards women, and he was no exception. Chapter 1561. The Mute Eats Yellow Lotus, 2. However, before he could figure out Lung Ruoxue's situation, he was summoned back by the Divine Master. Of course, he was not happy about it. In addition, the Yao family's guards were not blind. They knew that he was from the Divine Master's estate, but they still wanted to find trouble with him. This made the anger in his heart multiply. He could show Lung Ruoxue mercy, but there was no need for him to do so to the Yao family guards. "You're all looking for death," Xiao Bing said coldly with his eyes half closed. "Yo, are you threatening us? This is the Yao family's territory. You're courting death by threatening the Yao family's people in the Yao family's divine realm." The leader of the men in black warned. "It is, boss. He couldn't leave the Yao family's divine realm alive. We have to let him know the power of our Yao family. The God Lord's estate is nothing." The other man in black agreed with a look of disdain. His words resonated with the other men in black, and they all burst into laughter. "Ha ha ha! You have to be punished for breaking the rules of our Yao family's divine realm. We don't care who you are." After the men in black had enough of laughing, they said in unison. Some of them even flashed the weapons in their hands. The bright light pierced Xiao Bing's eyes. With a thought, a long sword appeared in his hand. At the same time, he sent a message to the Divine Master's residence. Then he waved the long sword in his hand, and a light blue sword light flew toward the leader of the men in black. Xiao Bing made the first move. He was very clear on the principle of capturing the leader first to capture the bandits. So his first target was the annoying leader of the men in black. Moreover, the two of them seemed to be on par in terms of strength. So as long as he killed the leader, the others were not a threat at all. Seeing that Xiao Bing had made his move, the leader of the men in black calmly dodged the sword light. He then gave a look to his subordinates, and instantly, a number of multicolored godly skills were launched at Xiao Bing. Fei Fei, who was under Xiao Bing's feet, quickly cast a defensive barrier around its master. The rainbow-colored godly skills did not even have the chance to reach Xiao Bing before they were absorbed by a pale yellow defensive barrier. When the men in black saw this, they were really envious, jealous, and hateful. This fat bear's defense was just too abnormal, and it was also a level 8 Saint God beast. As a result, it was very difficult for them to break through its defense in a short time, and this made them quite unwilling. "Captain, what do we do now?" One of the men in black whispered to Xiao Bing in a low voice. "We're going to fight to the death. Otherwise, how can we face the head of the family?" The leader of the men in black said angrily. After he finished speaking, he threw a black ball the size of a baby's fist in Xiao Bing's direction. When the men in black saw this, they quickly kept a safe distance from Xiao Bing. Xiao Bing sneered as he looked at the man in black's childish behavior, feeling contempt in his heart. In the immortal realm, Fei Fei's defense might not be the best, but it was definitely in the top 10. So, no matter what they did, he would not be afraid. This was also the trump card that allowed him to fight against so many people at once. Therefore, he really didn't care about that small black ball. Also, according to his guess, that thing should be a bomb. However, after waiting for a while, he didn't see the thing explode. Instead, he smelled an unpleasant smell rising from his surroundings. Wah, it was so smelly. "You guys are so bad. Do you want to suffocate Fei Fei to death?" Fei Fei couldn't take it anymore and screamed, covering its nose with one of its huge claws. Slowly, its body became stiff and numb. It shook its body for some reason, but it forgot that it was in the air, and Xiao Bing, who was on its back, fell straight down without any preparation. "Arg! Master!" Fei Fei, who felt that something was wrong, shouted loudly again. "Damn you, Fei Fei!" Xiao Bing bellowed and quickly reached out an arm to grab Fei Fei's long hair, hanging it in the air. However, this way, he was completely exposed to the men in black and became a live target. "Hee brothers, please entertain the guests of the Divine Lord's estate." The leader of the men in black laughed evilly, and at his command, dozens of divine skills flew toward Xiao Bing. This time, without the protection of Fei Fei's defensive barrier, those beautiful and dazzling divine skills landed directly on Xiao Bing's body. In the blink of an eye, Xiao Bing was covered in wounds and in a sorry state. Seeing the injuries on his body, the anger in Xiao Bing's heart surged. He subconsciously grabbed onto Fei Fei's long hair and held his sword with one hand. He held his breath and was about to counterattack when he suddenly realized that the men in black who had surrounded him had disappeared. Damn it, where are those people hiding? Xiao Bing's bright black eyes searched around, but he couldn't find a single clue. "Xiao Bing, are you all right?" Suddenly, a loud voice rang in Xiao Bing's ears. He raised his head and saw the man in red, who was looking at him with a smile. The anger in his heart grew because this man was none other than his rival, Jin Yang. However, at this moment, he also knew why the men in black had suddenly disappeared. "What do you think?" Xiao Bing said through gritted teeth. "Looking at how angry you are, you should be fine. However, you have quite a lot of injuries on your body. Are you being besieged?" Jin Yang said, gloating. "You don't have eyes. Can't you see for yourself?" Xiao Bing said angrily. This damn guy just loved to laugh at him. He couldn't understand why the Divine Master sent this guy here when he knew that they didn't get along. Wasn't he just causing trouble for him? especially when Jin Yang saw him in such a sorry state. TSK, TSK. How pitiful. It's a good thing I came in time, otherwise I would have to collect your corpse. Jin Yang said with a smile, but he felt a little regretful in his heart. If only he had come a little later. Damn it. Quickly pull me up. Xiao Bing flew into a rage out of humiliation. He was still hanging in the air. That damn guy actually pretended not to see it, and was even talking nonsense with him. Arg, what's wrong with you? You're not riding a flying beast, but a flying man. Jin Yang seemed to have just noticed Xiao Bing's state, and he said with a surprised look, Master, it hurts. At this time, Fei Fei, whose long hair was being pulled, finally couldn't bear the pain and whispered, You shut up, Xiao Bing roared. Then, he looked at Jin Yang with an unfriendly expression and said, Hurry up and help. All right. Jin Yang knew when to stop. He sat on his flying beast and came to Xiao Bing's side. He reached out his hand and gently lifted Xiao Bing, then threw him onto Fei Fei's back. Xiao Bing took a healing elixir, looked at Jin Yang, and said, Why are you alone? He had asked the Divine Master for help, saying that he had been besieged. The Divine Master wouldn't have only sent Jin Yang, right? Chapter 1562. The Mute Eats Yellow Lotus. 3. I'm flying fast, the others are behind me. They should be here soon. Jin Yang said seriously. Although he hated Xiao Bing, he was still a member of the Divine Master's estate. As the saying goes, you have to look at the owner before you hit a dog. Since the other party dared to mess with the Divine Master's estate, it was no longer Xiao Bing's personal matter. Therefore, the Divine Master's estate had to step in and settle this matter. God Lord, do you have any instructions? Xiao Bing nodded and asked. The Divine Master has given me full authority to deal with this matter. Don't worry, I will seek justice for you. Jin Yang promised with a smile. I want to deal with this myself, Xiao Bing said bluntly. He didn't believe that Jin Yang would seek justice for him. It was already good enough that Jin Yang didn't hit him when he was down. Why would he care about his life or death? Xiao Bing, although we've never been on good terms, this matter is no longer your personal matter. The Yao family has disgraced the Divine Lord's estate, so we naturally won't let them off easily. Jin Yang reminded him. He knew that Xiao Bing didn't trust him, so he wasn't willing to stand up for him. However, this was the Divine Master's order. He did not dare to disobey. Don't worry, you'll definitely be satisfied. Jin Yang added, then he'll believe you this once. Although he didn't really trust Jin Yang, he believed that Jin Yang would never bring shame to the Divine Lord's residence. All right, didn't you go to the Endless Sea? Why would he appear in the Yao family's god domain? Jin Yang asked with a face full of question marks. I chased a dolphin from the eye of the endless ocean to the cold pond, near the Ning family's divine realm, and then I came here. Xiao Bing explained simply, but he hid the fact that he had met Lung Ruoxue. Have you managed to contract that dolphin? Jin Yang asked curiously. No, I didn't. We let it run away. Xiao Bing was annoyed. He ran away? How is that possible? The beasts in the sea were much weaker on land, so how could they escape? Could it be that the dolphin has the strength of a reverent god? Jin Yang guessed. No, I didn't. It's just a God King level dolphin. Xiao Bing said gloomily. He had wanted to catch a beastie from the sea for a long time, and this was his best chance. Who knew that he would not be able to catch one? But you didn't catch him? Jin Yang's face was full of disbelief, and there was a faint trace of contempt in his eyes. Do you think the sea beasts are easy to catch? Xiao Bing said in a bad mood. After that, he turned around and ignored Jin Yang. Not long after, the main force sent by the God Lord's manor finally arrived. There were about 20 people sent by the God Lord's estate, including Jin Yang. Most of them were divine emperors, and the weakest among them was a divine king. It was clear that the God Lord's estate's strength could not be underestimated. These people were led by Jin Yang. Although Jin Yang also had the strength of a divine emperor, the strength of divine emperors of the same level was not exactly the same. However, Jin Yang was definitely a top expert among the divine emperors and was deeply trusted by the divine master. Seeing that everyone had arrived, Jin Yang and the others flew directly to the main city of the Yao family. At this time, it was late at night in the main city of the Yao family. Most people were immersed in their dreams. After arriving at the destination, Jin Yang and the others did not delay and went straight to the main house of the Yao family. The Yao family's main residence was located in the center of the Yao family's main city, covering an area of hundreds of thousands of hectares. From the outside, one could only see tall and majestic buildings standing in the main residence, giving off a majestic feeling. Upon entering the main residence, one would realize that the Yao family was built with a cluster of palaces. The pavilions and pagodas reflected each other, and a small bridge ran through them. In addition, many precious flowers and plants were planted in the courtyard, giving one a sense of pleasure. However, the angry Xiao Bing and the others were not in the mood to appreciate the Yao family's luxury. Besides, in their eyes, the Yao family's mansion was not even comparable to the Divine Lord's mansion. After reporting his identity, he was respectfully invited into the living room of the main residence. Xiao Bing and the others sat on the chairs and waited for a moment before a middle-aged man came in with a hurried expression. "Mr. Jin Yang, Mr. Xiao Bing, and everyone else, hello. Sorry for not welcoming you." The middle-aged man wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and said in fear. Although he looked like that on the surface, he could not help but curse in his heart. Nothing good could come from coming to the Yao family in the middle of the night. Not to mention that her sweet dreams were disturbed. She still had to treat these people like her ancestors. She was really aggrieved. However, these people were from the Divine Master's estate. Although the Yao family was ranked second among the 8 great divine regions, they still had to act according to the God Lord Manor's wishes. "You're the head of the Yao family?" Xiao Bing said coldly as he lifted his eyelids. "I'm the acting head of the Yao family, Yao Hua." Yao Hua introduced himself. "Acting clan head? We're here to see the head of the Yao family, but you're using a substitute head to fool us. Do you think we're easy to bully?" Xiao Bing squinted his eyes and said unhappily, You've misunderstood, Sir Xiao Bing. The master is not in the main residence." Yao Hua was so scared that he quickly said. In fact, he was lying through his teeth because the Yao family's ancestor was in the family's forbidden area. However, the old ancestor did not want to see the people of the Divine Lord's estate, so he had asked him to deal with it. However, looking at the attitude of these people, he was afraid that he could not deal with them. "Not in the main residence? Where did the Yao family head go?" Xiao Bing asked coldly, not believing Yao Hua's words at all. "I went out to meet some friends," Yao Hua said after some thought. "Friends? I thought you'd tell me that your ancestor was in seclusion," Xiao Bing said with a half-smile. I really went out to meet some friends," Yao Hua said nervously. In fact, he really wanted to say that he was going into seclusion, but he didn't know why these people were here. If they had something important to do, they couldn't just come out immediately after saying that they were going into seclusion. That would be too fake. Since the head of the Yao family has gone to meet his friends, they'll have to trouble you to inform him to return on behalf of the head. We have something important to do," Xiao Bing ordered coldly. May I know what's the matter?" Yao Hua asked shamelessly. "I was attacked in your Yao family's divine domain," Xiao Bing said indifferently. "Arg, who's so bold?" Yao Hua was shocked, and he was crying out in his heart. No wonder he came to the Yao family. Could it be that he wanted the Yao family to help him find the murderer? However, it was best not to get involved in this kind of thing because if it was not handled well, he would get into trouble, he thought. However, the other party was a member of the Divine Lord's estate, so he would not be so foolish as to reject him in front of him. However, if the other party was really as he had guessed, he would definitely not put in all his effort to find the murderer for the other party. In an instant, his thoughts turned over and over again, but his face remained calm and composed. "They're the guards of your Yao clan," Jin Yang said with a smile. Chapter 1563. A mute eats yellow lotus for what? This is impossible. Yao Hua quickly denied it. The guards of the Yao family were well trained. How could they find trouble with the people of the Divine Master's estate? Wouldn't that bring trouble to the Yao family? He was confident that the Yao family would never do that. Is it impossible? Take a look at this. Jin Yang smiled faintly and flashed a token the size of a palm. The token had the word Yao on the front and the totem of the Yao family on the back. Yao Hua saw it and knew it was the token of the Yao family's guard. After seeing the token, Yao Hua was both shocked and angry. He was shocked that the other party had evidence of the Yao family, and angry that it was clearly someone who had framed him, because he didn't believe that his own guard would have such courage. However, at this moment, he had unspeakable bitterness. Mr. Jin Yang, is there a misunderstanding? Yao Hua probed. Misunderstanding? Are you trying to say that this isn't your Yao clan's token? Jin Yang asked with a sneer. No, it wasn't he. This is the token of our Yao family. However, our Yao family will never dare to go against the Divine Lord's manor, and they will never attack Sir Xiaobing. Yao Hua said with certainty. Do you think he'll frame you? He had already prepared for the Yao family to deny it before he came. However, even if they did not admit to it, he would not let it go. To put it bluntly, he had pestered the Yao family, and the Yao family had to give him an explanation. Otherwise, where would he put his face? In fact, to him, it really didn't matter whether the Yao family admitted to it or not. In any case, they had evidence of the Yao family in their hands. If the Yao family denied it, then they would have to find a way to find the black-clothed men who had attacked him. If they couldn't find them, then the Yao family would naturally have to bear the consequences themselves. Thus, no matter what the result was, he would be the final winner. That's not what I meant, Sir Xiaobing. You've misunderstood. Yao Hua's forehead was covered in cold sweat. He knew that Xiaobing wasn't someone to be trifled with, but he didn't expect him to be even more difficult than he had imagined. What I mean is it's possible that the people who attacked Mr. Xiaobing are trying to frame us. Yao Hua explained as he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Ha ha ha. Xiaobing laughed after hearing Yao Hua's words, then said with slight disdain, who would dare to frame the Yao family in their divine realm? If that's the case, your Yao clan's defense is too trashy. Xiaobing's words left Yao Hua speechless. Mr. Xiaobing, I know that you won't believe me even if I insist that this has nothing to do with the Yao family. Please give me a few days and I will find out the truth and give you an explanation. Yao Hua was silent for a long time before he spoke in a depressed manner. That's good. Then I'll give you 3 days. After 3 days, if you can't give me a satisfactory explanation, don't blame me for not showing mercy. Xiaobing said coldly with a straight face. Sir Xiaobing, 3 days is not enough. Yao Hua said with a bitter face. Yao Hua, acting patriarch, 3 days isn't a short time. We still have important matters to attend to when we return to the Divine Lord's estate, so we don't have much time to waste on this. Jin Yang said with a faint smile. As soon as he said this, Yao Hua knew that the 3 days were set in stone and could not be changed. All right then, we'll try my best. Yao Hua replied with a bitter face. Yao Hua, acting patriarch, I suggest you inform the Yao family patriarch to return quickly. I'm afraid you can't make the decision on this matter. Xiaobing said very kindly. I'll inform the ancestor. Yao Hua felt extremely aggrieved. Of course, he would tell the old master about this, but he was worried that Xiaobing and the others had given him too little time. If the other party was trying to frame him, 3 days would not be enough. Not only that, but he also had to entertain these ancestors with good food and drink for the next few days. Whoa, just the thought of it made him feel extremely depressed. After arranging accommodation for Xiaobing and the others, he immediately went to the forbidden area to see the old ancestor. At Xiaobing's residence. In the room, Jin Yang looked at Xiaobing, who was sitting opposite him, with a curious look on his face. He said with a faint smile, Do you believe that the Yao clan will investigate this matter and hand over the person who attacked you in 3 days? I don't believe it. This matter is of great importance, and the Yao family won't admit it easily. However, it doesn't matter to me whether they admit it or not. Xiaobing said nonchalantly. When the Divine Master came, He told me that it's best not to fall out with the Yao family. The balance of the divine world is very important. Jin Yang said lightly. Did I get attacked for nothing? Xiao Bing was displeased. Of course I won, T. After all, you're a member of the Divine Master's estate. You have to look at the Master before you hit the dog. How could the Divine Master let you suffer? However, he won't put the Yao family to death. Jin Yang explained. Oh, really? I thought the Divine Master would use this matter to take down the Yao family in one fell swoop. Xiao Bing laughed. Don't talk nonsense. The Divine Realm is originally governed by the Divine Lord. Jin Yang reproached. His eyes flickered nervously for fear that the walls had ears. I thought you'd be happy to hear me say that. Xiao Bing smiled and said calmly. I'm just afraid that if you die, no one will go against me. Then he'll be so bored. Jin Yang said matter-of-factly. The Divine Master was not a broad-minded person. If he heard Xiao Bing's words, he would definitely be punished. Moreover, such words could not be spread, or it would cause trouble for the Divine Master's estate. Don't worry, he'll live well. Xiao Bing looked out the window, thinking about something. Then, the two of them chatted for a while more before they went to rest. 3 days passed by in a flash. Xiao Bing and Jin Yang had been sitting in the living room since early morning, waiting for Yao Hua's reply. When Yao Hua heard the news, he jogged all the way to the living room. When he saw the two people sitting on the chairs, he felt depressed. Patriarch Yao, you can give me an explanation for this matter. Xiao Bing's eyes were cold as he glared at Yao Hua. Well, Mr. Xiao Bing, Mr. Jin Yang, I've already sent people to investigate this matter, but there's no news so far. The guards you told me about have also been found, so I can't give you any answers now. Yao Hua said as he secretly wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Of course, his ancestor told him to say this because he didn't believe that the guards of the Yao family would cause trouble for the people of the Divine Lord's estate. Therefore, after hearing his description, he immediately concluded that someone was framing the Yao family. However, I didn't know who it was. Your Yao family is trying to cheat. Or do you think I'm framing you? Xiao Bing suppressed his anger and asked. He had thought that the Yao family would try their best to deny the matter, but he didn't expect that the Yao family would not admit it at all. 3 days had passed, and they only told him that they had not found the person. Were they trying to fool him? No way. Chapter 1564. The Mute Eats the Yellow Lotus. 5. Upon hearing Yao Hua's words, Jin Yang, who had intended to make a big deal smaller, was a little angry. The Yao family was clearly not putting the Divine Master's estate in their eyes. Initially, he thought that the Yao family would find a scapegoat to settle the matter, and then compensate Xiao Bing with some money and things, and the matter would be over. However, he did not expect that the Yao family did not even plan to send out a scapegoat. Although he knew that Xiao Bing's attack was suspicious, since there was evidence pointing to the Yao family, he naturally did not want to interfere. However, the Yao family was obviously not easy to manipulate. Sir Xiao Bing, please don't misunderstand us. We are also investigating this matter. If this was really done by the Yao family, we will not let this matter rest. If not, we will definitely find out who dared to frame our Yao family and avenge Sir Xiao Bing and our Yao family. Yao Hua said with a calm smile on his handsome face. He was now full of confidence, and this was all thanks to his conversation with the ancestor. So you still don't believe me? Xiao Bing understood Yao Hua's meaning. In the end, he just didn't believe that his own family would attack him. We have to have enough evidence to convict our clansmen. Otherwise, our clansmen will not be convinced. Yao Hua said helplessly. You mean that just the token of your Yao family isn't enough? Xiao Bing said with a half smile. It would be even better if we have other evidence. To be honest, the place where Mr. Xiao Bing was attacked is in Linfun, and we have already checked the guards there. They did not go out that night, and there are witnesses. Also, they did not lose their tokens. Yao Hua carefully explained. Are you sure? Xiao Bing gave Yao Hua a sidelong glance. Yao family head, the people who attacked Sir Xiao Bing might not be the guards of Linfun, but that doesn't mean they aren't from the Yao family. Jin Yang reminded her with a smile. You're saying? Hearing Jin Yang's words, Yao Hua was a little frightened. He understood the other party's words. They wanted him to expand the scope of the search. However, he had to ask his ancestor for instructions. Otherwise, if something really happened, he couldn't make the decision. We have the footage of the people who attacked Mr. Xiaobing. Do you need it? Jin Yang said with a smile. He didn't intend to take out this thing, but since the Yao family didn't know what was good for them, it was only natural to take it out and make them convinced. After hearing Jin Yang's words, Yao Hua had a bad feeling in her heart. She couldn't help but curse in her heart. If you had the video, why didn't you take it out earlier? Aren't you playing us? However, Jin Yang's words also made him a little afraid. What if the people in the video were really the Yao family? What would he do then? Moreover, since they had evidence, why didn't they show it earlier? This also made him puzzled. Looking at Yao Hua's dark expression, Xiao Bing sneered in his heart. It was a good thing he had been careful back then, or else he would have been forced to suffer in silence. Originally, he had discussed with Jin Yang that if the Yao family's explanation satisfied them, they would not take out such evidence. They would keep it for more important use in the future. However, he did not expect that the Yao family would not take the bait. In that case, he cannot be blamed. Can I take a look first? After a long silence, Yao Hua finally spoke. Of course you can. Xiao Bing took out a memory crystal with a smile and handed it over. Yao Hua held the memory crystal in his hand and looked at its contents. He was shocked because the images in the crystal were indeed from the Yao family. Moreover, they were not ordinary guards of the Yao family. Suddenly, his hand trembled and the memory crystal in his hand fell to the ground with a bang. With a sound, it shattered into pieces. It doesn't matter. I've duplicated a lot of them, so feel free to smash them, Patriarch Yao. Xiao Bing laughed nonchalantly. Do you want to destroy the evidence? In your dreams. Your Excellency Xiao Bing. I didn't do it on purpose. Yao Hua said pitifully with a bitter face. He knew that the other party would not believe him even if he said it, but he had to say it. In fact, he did not do it on purpose. He was just too nervous, so he accidentally dropped the memory crystal on the ground. The memory crystal wasn't very hard, and the Yao family's floor was made of abnormally hard crystal. When the two hit each other, it was like an egg hitting a rock. Naturally, the one that broke was the one that was harder. It doesn't matter whether Patriarch Yao has the intention or not. You should discuss with your Patriarch and elders how you're going to give me an explanation. Xiao Bing was in a good mood. From Yao Hua's expression, he could tell that Yao Hua definitely knew the people in the memory crystal. Let's see how he's going to quibble now. Mr. Xiao Bing, Mr. Jin Yang, please give me some time. Yao Hua requested as cold sweat appeared on his forehead. No problem. I'll give you one more day. My patience is limited. Xiao Bing said generously and threw a memory crystal to Yao Hua. Yao Hua held the memory crystal in his hand and left the living room with heavy steps. Xiao Bing and Jin Yang, who were still sitting in their chairs, looked at each other and smiled. Both of them had a tacit understanding. A day later, the Yao family finally came to a conclusion. They were willing to pay Xiao Bing a huge sum of compensation, but at the same time, they also asked Xiao Bing to let go of the guards who had besieged him. Xiao Bing was in a good mood, so he agreed without hesitation. After all, he was very satisfied with the compensation from the Yao family. As for those who had besieged him, he had no use for them. If he really killed them, he would have a huge grudge with the Yao family. The Yao family might not dare to take revenge on the surface, but they could do something in secret, and it was hard to guard against. Xiao Bing was not stupid, so he naturally did not want to make such a deep enemy. Therefore, he did the Yao family a favor, which was something the Divine Master was happy to see. After paying a large sum of compensation and apologizing to Xiao Bing, even though they still did not believe that the guards of the Yao family would do such a thing, they could only swallow their pride as the evidence was conclusive. Furthermore, they did not dare to blame the guards who were stored in the memory crystal too much, because they were the people of their ancestor. When Lung Ruoxue and the rest heard the news, they had already returned to the Ning family's main residence. In a courtyard in the forbidden area of the back mountain, a burst of proud and wild laughter rang out. The sound resounded through the clouds and soared into the sky. Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! I'm so happy! The master of the Ning family laughed and fell to the ground without any care for his image. When Lung Ruoxue saw this, she could not help but feel a few black lines sliding down her forehead. She thought to herself, does Godfather have to smile so shamelessly? The Yao family only lost some money, and there were no casualties. It didn't affect the Yao family's strength at all. Wasn't it too early for Godfather to be proud? Godfather, are you done laughing? The Yao family is just losing money to avoid disaster. Do you need to be so happy? Lung Ruoxue said speechlessly and came to an important conclusion. Godfather was easily satisfied. Chapter 1565. The Mute Eats Yellow Lotus 6. Schwerer? You don't understand. The Divine Master won't easily touch a family like ours, so I thought this would be the result before I set up the trap. But that Xiao Bing is really ruthless. He actually got so much money from the Yao family. Should I ask him for some dividends? The master of the Ning family hesitated, and then he really started to think about it seriously. Old thing, don't even think about the money, or else you'll be exposed. In this way, you've offended both the Godlord's estate and the Yao family. First Elder quickly poured cold water on Master Ning. The Godlord's estate won't find trouble with me for now. As for the Yao family, they're already rivals with our Ning family, so it's fine to offend them a little more. The master of the Ning family said indifferently, Godfather, it wasn't easy for us to get rid of Xiao Bing. Do you still want to walk into the trap? Lung Ruoxue reminded him helplessly. She couldn't let her godfather have such thoughts. She couldn't wait to hide from Xiao Bing. So how could she let her godfather come forward by himself? Xiao Bing is a little troublesome. Master Ning cupped his chin with one hand and said gloomily, although Xiao Bing was a divine emperor, he was definitely one of the most difficult people to deal with in the Divine Lord Manor. Otherwise, he would not have followed them to the Yao family's divine domain. MMH. So let's stay away from him. Lung Ruoxue hurriedly nodded. All right then, let's let him off for now. Although the master of the Ning family was a little reluctant, he did not have a good way to deal with Xiao Bing, so he could only let him have it first. Hearing her godfather's words, Lung Ruoxue's heart was at ease. At this time, the Ning family's competition had already entered the final stage. There were only 20 people left in the final stage of the competition, and these 20 people were also the elites of this competition. If there were no accidents, they would all be heavily trained by the family. Ning Shan and Ning Hai were also included in these 20 people. When Lung Ruoxue heard the news, she had planned to visit the two brothers. However, just as she was about to leave, she met Ning Yin, who had come to see her. Ning Yin was staring at Lung Ruoxue with bitter expression, not saying a word. Lung Ruoxue's hair stood on end. Why was she the same as the grapes and the lotus seeds? The two maidservants looked at her like this before, but they didn't say anything, which made her quite scared. Sister Yin, you're so fast. Lung Ruoxue's beautiful face was full of smiles. Is it fast? Wretched girl, do you know that I was worried to death when you were away for so many days? Ning Yinhe roared like a lion. She put her hands on her waist and glared at Lung Ruoxue. Seeing Ning Yin like this, Lung Ruoxue thought to herself, no wonder everyone says Ning Yin is a tigress. I really do look like one. Sister Yin, calm down. Aren't I back now? Besides, I have Godfather and Great Elder by my side. So what do you have to worry about? Lung Ruoxue consoled. You guys took so long to come back. Did you encounter something fun? Oomph. You guys must take in all the food for yourself. This is too much. Ning Yin said unhappily, as if saying, how are you going to compensate me? Ning Yin's words made Lung Ruoxue speechless. After all this, it turned out that Ning Yin was unhappy because she wasn't with her. She had thought that Ning Yin was really worried about her. Of course, he was worried, but it was more for fun. Sister Yin, didn't you say that Xiao Bing was sinister and vicious? Therefore, the task of coming back to report is very important, and it must be you. Lung Ruoxue thought for a while and coaxed. So what? I've already gone home, but father won't take me with him. Ning Yin complained. This is Godfather's problem. I wasn't there at the time. Lung Ruoxue pushed all the blame away. She didn't think that Ning Yin would dare to get even with her godfather. Why should I bring you? We're not going there to play. Master Ning opened his mouth, but his eyes drifted to Lung Ruoxue, his eyes filled with endless grievances. However, his words successfully changed the topic. Little sister Ruoxue, although you've been away these few days, I've been watching Ning Shan and Ning Hai for you. With me around, no one would dare to do anything to them. Ning Yin said with a smug look. Thank you, Sister Yin. Lung Ruoxue smiled from the bottom of her heart. Actually, she was really afraid that in the few days that she wasn't around, Big Brother Ning and Shan had been violated. With Ning Yin around, he believed that no one would dare to use improper means. There's no need to thank me. We're not friends. As long as you think of me when you have something fun in the future, it's fine. Ning Yin warned him seriously. All right, Lung Ruoxue nodded. This was as easy as lifting a finger to her. As for whether Ning Yin had that much time, it was not within her scope of concern. Chapter 1566, Persuasion 1. Seeing that Lung Ruoxue had agreed, Ning Yin was in a good mood. After chatting for a while, she even took the initiative to say that she wanted to visit Brother Ning Hai with Lung Ruoxue. Then, the two of them went to find Ning Hai. When they arrived at the door of Ning Hai's house, Lung Ruoxue and Ning Yin suddenly heard shouts coming from inside. They looked at each other and did not say anything. Instead, they listened carefully. Although they heard that it wasn't a good idea, they were just concerned about Brother Ning Hai. The two of them tacitly found an excuse for themselves. At this time, in the courtyard of Ning Hai's house, Ning Hai was arguing with a group of people. There were about a dozen people in that group, and all of them had a disdainful smile on their faces. Their eyes were perverted, and they were looking at Ning Hai. Get lost. All of you get lost. Ning Hai roared in anger. Fuck. Did these people really think he was easy to bully? If not for the Ning family, he would have kicked them out long ago. Ning Hai, it's your fortune that our head butler has taken a liking to you. If you know what's good for you, quickly agree to this matter. This will be a double blessing. Otherwise, don't even think about having a good life in the Ning family in the future. The leader of the group, a man in his 30s, reminded with a sneer. It is. You've offended our head butler. Do you still want to stand out in the Ning family in the future? The other person also roared like a fox, exploiting a tiger's might. When Ning Hai heard the words of these two people, he suppressed the anger in his heart and growled, I told you to get lost. So what are you still doing here? Ning Hai, don't you regret offending the head butler? You won't have a good time. The leader of the group threatened. So what if I did? At worst, we'll leave the Ning family's divine realm. Ning Shan shouted indignantly. His delicate face was flushed red. He had never thought that he would encounter such a thing. He had long been furious. Shaner, Shaner. A few exclamations sounded one after another. Ning Hai looked at Ning Shan with a face of disapproval. This younger brother of his was innocent and did not know the dangers of the human world. As members of the Ning family, unless they went out to train, once their entire family left the Ning family's divine realm, it would be equivalent to betrayal. This was a great humiliation to any family. Even if they were not hunted down by the family, they would be spurned by the people of the divine world. At that time, they would be like rats crossing the street, hated by everyone. This was definitely not what Ning Hai wanted to see. Therefore, he would rather be the only one who offended the head butler than to see his brother and parents live such a life. However, he had a good plan, but he didn't know that the reality was cruel. If he was really expelled from the family because he offended the head butler, would his parents and brother still have a good life? The answer was definitely no. Are you guys trying to betray your clan? When the leader heard Ning Shan's words, he laughed happily. He had finally caught them. He didn't believe that with this big hat, this family would not submit. You can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. We didn't say anything like that, so don't even think about framing us. Ning Hai's heart sank, and he quickly said, he had been out for many years, so he more or less had the ability to read people's expressions. Therefore, he understood the meaning of the other party's words. However, he couldn't let the other party carry out his words. Otherwise, they would not be able to clear their name even if they jumped into the Yellow River. Ning Shan just said that he wanted to leave the Ning family's divine realm. I didn't hear wrongly, right? The leader of the group asked his subordinate. You didn't hear wrong. He did say that. We can all be witnesses. The person beside him immediately tried to please him. What else do you have to say now? The leader of the group was very pleased with himself. As long as he thought of the benefits that the head butler would promise him after he succeeded, he would be so happy that he could fly. I only said to leave. I didn't say I would betray the clan, Ning Shan said calmly. Although he looked very calm on the outside, he was extremely nervous in his heart. He also knew that he had said the wrong thing in a moment of desperation. However, he was very smart and knew that the other party wanted to use this sentence as a handle. Naturally, he would not give the other party a chance. Little brat, don't quibble. I will report this matter to the head butler, and there will be a fair judgment. The person in the lead did not give Ning Shan a chance to explain and said, Ning Shan was so angry that he could not speak. Let's go. The leader of the group came and went excitedly, thinking that victory was already in his hands. When they reached the door, they happened to bump into Lung Ruoxue and Ning Yin, who were about to enter. What a stunning beauty! The leader of the group looked at Lung Ruoxue and Ning Yin with a perverted look, his heart filled with amazement. You guys are from this house too? After a long time, the leader asked loudly. And Lung Ruoxue nodded, but did not say much. I didn't expect this family to have a hidden beauty, the leader mumbled to himself. After that, he left with his subordinates. However, he turned back every 3 steps as he left, looking reluctant to leave. Sister Yin, are they also part of the Ning family? Lung Ruoxue chuckled as she asked. How is that possible? If there's such a person in the Ning family, it'll be the first to clean up the house, Ning Yin said angrily. Lung Ruoxue smiled, but did not say anything more. She pulled Ning Yin into the courtyard. At this moment, Ning Shan was still in the courtyard with an angry expression, while Ning Hai seemed a little depressed. As for their parents, they were also out of their wits, and their faces were pale with fear. No one noticed the arrival of Lung Ruoxue and Ning Yin. Big brother Ning, Lung Ruoxue called out softly when she saw them in this state. Ruoxue, you're back. Young miss, you're here too. Ning Hai saw Lung Ruoxue and Ning Yin and quickly greeted them. Yes. Lung Ruoxue nodded. She knew that Ning Yin had made up an excuse for her disappearance. Ning Hai, why do you call her Ruoxue and call me young miss? Ning Yin said unhappily when she heard how Ning Hai addressed her. Ning Hai was stunned and didn't know what to say. Could he say that Ning Yin was a rich young lady? Even though Ruoxue was the elder ancestor's goddaughter, he treated her like a little sister. He knew that he couldn't say that. If he did, Ning Yin would definitely not let him off. Besides, Ning Yin had been taking care of them in secret these days, so he couldn't say it. Ha ha, Sister Yin is jealous. Lung Ruoxue laughed and teased Ning Yin. Wretched girl, you dare to laugh at me. Ning Yin glared at Lung Ruoxue with dissatisfaction. However, she suddenly changed the topic and looked at Ning Hai. Who were those people just now? The Ning family's trash that uses their power to bully others. Before Ning Hai could answer, Ning Shan spoke first. Shaner, shut up. Ning Hai shouted and secretly gave Ning Shan a look, telling him not to talk nonsense. After all, Ning Yin was the eldest miss of the Ning family. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.